mom's netting, the first thing I remember is this that is now the juggalo world of the wicked clowns. This dream was so vivid and powerful that it fucking led me. It controlled me. It gave me ideas. I just fed off this dream and went from there and started building the bricks that would lay the foundation that would become the 6 Joker cards. It was like it instructed me. I just took elements from that dream and put it into our music, put it into our characters. Violent J and Shaggy. You know, I told John and Joey and Alex about it so fucking intensely, you know, so many times. And I felt positive about this dream, just like I did when God walked up our steps. Even though it terrified me at the time, I felt like it was something I was meant to fucking go through and I was meant to learn from. I felt like this dream was instructions for me. This wasn't a normal dream. You know, maybe scientifically it was, I don't know. Maybe scientifically it was a panic attack mixed with my super positive emotions about the possibilities of Insane Clown Posse. You know, I'm trying to scientifically come up with a theory of what happened that night, but nothing will ever change my mind that it was something supernatural. You know, you may have your own explanation. A doctor or a psychologist or a therapist might have their explanation, but I'm telling you, my experience, this was something supernatural. This was something magic. This was meant to teach me something. I don't know why me. I don't know why the clown even appeared in my dreams. I don't know why everything turned out the way it did so beautifully with the juggalo world and everybody finding each other and us never having to be alone again. But I'm telling you, it all started with this dream or panic attack. You know, but fuck you, scientists. Lick my fucking balls from the back, all right? Because fuck you. I don't care scientifically what it was, because what it was to me was magic. It had to be magic. Look what it led to. Look at all of us together. Look at the good times we've all had. Take each juggalo and think about their own separate good times and enjoyment. All of that happiness, all of that positivity, all of the friendships and marriages and children that came from them, all of the positivity that the juggalo world, and we didn't create the juggalo world, it happened to us. Just like this fucking dream happened to me, and I'm telling you, all of it all spawned from the meeting that night and the fucking dream I had that night. It all spawns from that night in the apartment next to Karen Chida, laying there. Cause if that experience never happened, we would have been on a whole nother page. I don't know where you would be or where I would be, but everything is happening as a chain reaction because of that dream. Because of my vision and what happened over the next couple of days, I began to realize that either I was chosen for a grand purpose in this world or I had gone completely fucking insane. Even now, I'm not sure which one it is. Most people during the course of their lives never see monsters chasing them down a fucking street or an image of God in their own home or visions from a dark carnival. But I had seen them all, straight up. By the time I was 19, I had saw these things. I swear to you, on my children, this is what happened to me, to the best of my knowledge, all right? Maybe I'm fucking insane. I'll admit it. I'm on mad antidepressants, you know what I'm saying? I'm fucking bipolar, you know what I'm saying? My grandmother was insane, you know? And spent her life in an insane asylum from her 30s on. And that shit is genetic. And maybe I'm crazy. So maybe the monster that chased me that night was in my head. Maybe everything me and my brother saw at Picker Forest was in our heads. Maybe this whole fucking dream was just a typical night for somebody insane, you know? But I believe it was all meant to be. I believe for some reason we were chosen to deliver this message. All I know is I would never be the same again after that dream. The strangest thing that happened to me after that vision was that suddenly ideas and images would just pop into my head with ease. I'd pluck them right from that fucking dream. And the ideas would come to me from that dream. Same feeling. Like they just came. I didn't sit and think, like, let's think of something, you know. It would just appear like a gift, you know. And I'm telling you something right now. I'm a super Michael Jackson fan, and I'm embarrassed to tell you how many books I've read about Michael Jackson, all right? But Michael Jackson always said that the best ideas, the best music, the best melodies that he ever came up with just popped in his head out of nowhere. Nothing inspired him. You know, he didn't sit down with a pen and paper and say, I'm going to think of something dope right now. It was just given to him. That's the exact same way the Joker cards and the ideas for songs and lyrics come to me. They just appear. When they appear, I have no control of. I don't know what the next Joker card is going to be until it pops into my head. And I'm confident it will, you know, because it has since this night. It just pops into my head. It's a gift. It's a gift from a higher power, all right? It became all too clear to me what my purpose in life was. For me, the Dark Carnival in my vision is something real and something that is coming. Maybe it won't exactly look like it did in my vision, but something out there is coming, and it's going to consume all of those souls who are not pure. It's the basic concept of good and bad. That carnival let me hear the sounds of hell. You know what I mean? I have always been interested in Nostradamus and other great foreseers of the future. I learned as much as I could about them. I never read books, but I always watched the shows about them and shit. And during this search for answers, I found one chilling conclusion that they all seem to share. They all seem to believe that the world is gonna end. Either way you put it, the world is gonna end for all of us. Time will consume us all. We're all given a time limit. As I'm reading this book, the Missing Link albums, Lost and Found, are out. That's the latest Joker's card at the time I'm recording this. And there's a song on the album Found called Time. And in that song, I'm talking about how we're all given a time limit. Everybody's given a time limit on this earth. And you got to make the best of your time because it's always ticking. And Isham once said something to me, you know, very wise. He's a genius. He's insane, but he's a genius. And he once said to me, what's the worst thing you can do to a person? Take away their time. Put them in jail so that some of their precious time is wasted sitting in a cell. You know, that's the worst punishment you can do to somebody. Like a 30-year sentence, you took away 30 years and made it meaningless. Now, if that person goes to prison and is able to turn things around and make that time positive, like somehow he's doing something positive and he's actually not suffering, he's actually like living his life to the fullest, even behind bars, he's a very smart motherfucker, you know, because you got to always make best of your time because we're all on the clock. And even when you're sleeping, fucking, driving, waiting at a red light, fist fighting, watching wrestling, whatever you're doing, the time is always ticking. Time will consume us all. I very much believe in God, and I feel that the vision I had was His will. It is because of this belief that I feel that through our music, we can reach out to people who are in need of help, people whose souls are being corrupted beyond return from the evils of this world. You know, we all start out pure and clean, but the world is so dirty. We start out like a white cloth, you know, and then the world blows smoke through it, and it starts to get dingy and dirty. You know, that's how our souls work. I believe that with our music, though, even though it's apparently violent and extremely outwardly ruthless in its appearance, it has the power to attract and draw people who are lost from God. They can hear its deeper, truer purpose. The violence, the wicked shit, the fucking humor, all of that shit draws you in and makes it entertaining. And a lot of our music is just about entertainment. Most of it is. And I very much enjoy it. I find it entertaining, and if you're listening to this, you probably do too. But in there, layered in the music, is what we really want you to hear. We want you to hear the basic message of heaven and hell. We're not holy rollers by any sense of the word. We don't go to church, and we don't have a particular religion, and I don't believe the Dark Carnival is a religion. People say that, and if it is a religion for you, that's fine, but I don't look at it like that. I just believe in a higher power. I don't know if he's God or if he's Allah or Buddha or Ra. I don't know what his name is or what religion is correct. I only believe there's a Shangri-La. I don't even know if I believe in hell because I don't think the Holy Creator would actually send somebody to burn in eternal hell. That's such a ruthless punishment that I just can't see the God that created us doing that to somebody, anybody. Because a lot of people are born fucked up. They're beaten their whole lives, they're molested, they're fucking raped, and they turn out fucked up, and they turn out evil, and they never find God, you know? And then when they go to hell, they're suddenly sentenced to suffer for eternity, burning, the worst pain you can feel. I don't believe that. I really don't. I rap about hell because in case there is a hell, I would hate to see a juggalo there. I would hate to see anybody there. So we talk about the horrors of hell, just in case. But me personally, I believe if you're wicked, you're not allowed into the gates of Shangri-La. You just cease to exist. Time consumes you and you no longer exist. That's what I believe happens. But for those who've earned it, for those who've shared positivity and spread positivity and diamond rain throughout their lives, they are blessed with Shangri-La. I very much believe in heaven. You could look at our music as fighting fire with fire. Those who never dig below the surface of the music of ICP will probably judge it as violent and evil. We know that. We don't care. Those of us who have dug deeper, though, realize there is a message that pertains to trying to save the human soul. We ain't no kind of magical fucking chosen prophets or nothing like that. We know that. I'd say, though, that we truly have within us a great concern for people. Well, most people anyway. This motivates me to do what we do. If nothing else, I feel I'm on this planet trying to do the best I can, and I believe I'm doing something positive. In the least, it's providing entertainment. What we do is we hold a mirror up with every Joker's card. It's another way for you to look at yourself and question yourself. Every Joker's card is you. It's asking you, are you like this? Do you have this problem? Are you maybe overlooking this about yourself? Every Joker's card is a mirror. It's a vision of you at another angle. And I feel that's me and Shaggy's purpose. That's why we're here, is to show you those mirrors and hopefully save as many people so that they're found and they can ride in Shangri-La and keep the party moving for eternity. Because we very much believe in heaven, and we very much would love to see the juggalos in heaven. People hate me for many different reasons. Some of them are justified, you know. I've done some fucking really wicked, stupid, fucking dumb shit. I have and still continue to be a troubled man who makes mistakes. There are even people hearing this right now who are probably hating me for everything I just said. There's haters everywhere. Fuck hate, though. It is true I might have to get people's attention through hate, but I think I'm a good person at heart, and I'm only trying to do good as a man. I know me and Shaggy are good people. Now we are, and I think we're doing good. I think even though our music is so wicked and so ruthless, people believe our music has done a lot of wrong, but I believe in what we're doing. It's my life's work. Anyway, back to the story. There was no more brainstorming, no more thinking of anything. It was all clear to me as to how we would structure the future career of ICP. It was like the floodgate had opened, and I was suddenly enlightened to exactly what we're gonna do. 6 Joker cards, inspired by that dream. For each of the 6 albums, each one with a clown face on a cover. Each clown face would be a prophet of some kind. A newly arrived character from the Dark Carnival. Yeah, it has a wicked name, but you know, wicked is cool too. And that's what heaven is. Cool as fuck. Each Joker card will be holding up a mirror to people to show them something wicked about themselves so that they can change. And after all 6 have showed up, then it will be time for the Dark Carnival to surface on the mortal earth like the apocalypse. In what form will it surface? We'll all have to wait and see. That sounded like a good plan to us. Whatever you say, spirit ninjas. I feel like there is magic in ICP's music that goes way beyond my creative abilities or Shaggy's creative abilities. I feel it's brought to us by the powers of the beyond. I truly believe this. Other rap groups were putting out singles. We were releasing the end of the world on an installment fucking plan. The Dark Carnival dropped the ideas into our heads like bags of sand backstage at the opera. You just have to experience real good magic to understand the feeling. Now I know it sounds hokey, and believe me, we've taken shit for even mentioning the Dark Carnival in interviews. You have to understand though, I wasn't into clowns. We weren't into any of that shit growing up. We never had a fascination with carnivals or clowns. I never even said the word clown in the storyline of this book until my dream of the clown in Del Rey. I've never had shit to do with clowns, carnivals, or any circus shit. My brother was the one who was a role-playing fantasy fanatic. Shit, I couldn't read a book long enough to stay focused on what I was reading. The thing is, this thing just hit us. It hit us the same way people on late night TV describe how they were hit by the Holy Ghost. Me, Joey, John, Alex, Billy, all of us, we were all hit by this fucking Holy Ghost that was the Dark Carnival. We were all energized by it. It was like a gift from the other side. We were all inspired, like we took fucking drugs and we were all suddenly high, only it was permanent. From then on, we would be delivering its messages. It was just laid out before us without ever really searching for it. Pure magic, y'all. It had just showed up, scary as fuck style, and we said, we're gonna do it like this, and don't worry, I got your back. Everything's gonna be okay. We felt positive about our idea. We felt positive about delivering these messages. We felt positive about saying the end will consume us all. And of course, the world didn't end after the 6 Joker cards, and now we're doing 6 more, but that's all we know how to do. Deliver Joker cards and warn people about themselves and how time is ticking. Nobody knows when the world's gonna end, but I know one thing, your personal clock is ticking, and that shit is gonna run out one day. So make sure you're Trump tight when it does. Make sure you're found. Wow, man, wow. Why us? I don't know. Why through music? I don't know. Why the vision? I don't know. I don't have any of your answers. Your guess is as good as mine. I can't explain a fucking factual thing about it. I just know that it's here, it happened to us, and it's real. Now let me ask you, do you think I'm smart enough to come up with something like this on my own? I'm a fucking dumbass. You think we actually came up with this idea of 6 Joker cards in the Dark Carnival and some of those bomb-ass songs and lyrics? You think we're smart enough to come up with that? When we hear it, when it's done and we listen to it, it's like hearing it for the first time. I have no recollection of even writing it. We're just like you. We're fans of all of this. I know, however, I've shown hundreds and thousands of people the same magic, and they too feel it. Juggalos are everywhere. Me and Shaggy have done it. We spread the word and people feel the magic. I don't want to sound conceited, but you don't know how many people, how many fucking human lives have told us that the music has saved their life. Saved their life. I can't even count how many juggalos have said this music has saved their lives. It worked. It's working today. The plan of the Joker's cards, the plan of the messages, it fucking worked. Look at the juggalo world. Look at the love within it, the brotherhood, the camaraderie. The carnival is here on Earth. It exists. We gather every year. You think we're smart enough to come up with that? Look how lame I am. Look how untalented we are. I can't play any instruments, neither can Shaggy. Yet we have hundreds of thousands of juggalos who follow our music. Why? Cause it's real. It's real magic. They hear the magic in the music. It calls them out. It was meant for them to hear. Just as much as it was meant for us to say it, you were probably meant to hear it. If you don't hear the magic in our music, if you can't hear the calling through the messages, then don't worry. God will reach you in some other way. He will eventually reach you. It's up to you to follow whether or not you want to get your shit tight and live a righteous life. But God will eventually reach everybody at some point. All I know is that juggalos can feel the magic, just like we can. And just like I did during that night when I first got the vision. You can't tell me the Dark Carnival isn't real, brother. I hope everybody finds their own version of the Dark Carnival in their own lives if you don't find it through us. Cause it's damn well real. And it's done me well. The thing is, I can't even really take credit for it. See, the way I look at it, we were chosen to deliver this. That vision just came to us and gave it to us. The greatest gift I've ever been given besides my children was the gift of the ability and the ideas and everything that are the catalog of Insane Clown Posse. It's the greatest gift that me and Shaggy have ever been given because it damn sure didn't come from us. Honestly, I mean, look at me. I bought houses for my family. I help run a company where anybody who works for us can have it all if they work hard enough. All that, and yet still I eat NyQuils. You know, I've had a Vicodin problem and take Tic Tacs to go to sleep. I've had to take panic attack medicine. I'm as human as anybody. The Dark Carnival ain't about making me, live a holy life. I sin all the time. I'm still trying to be found. Shaggy's still trying to be found. We both are as human as possibly can be. Shit, I spent my whole life learning how to be happy with no money. And now I'm rich. And what is this, a fucking joke? We're still not happy. We still have problems. I still suffer from depression. That's why I can honestly say I think the Dark Carnival is God. I really do. Because it's a challenge. It's hard to follow and live a righteous life in this fucked up world. There's so much temptation. There's so much fucked up shit out there to pollute you. It's hard. Me and Shaggy don't live this righteous fucking life. We live a human life. Shaggy's battled alcohol. I've battled fucking pain pills. We've had our fucking share of trouble. We still live lives. I've been addicted to food. It's not all holy, easy shit, We're still suffering. Even with all the success we have in our personal lives, we still suffer. I realize that he has to speak in a language that in today's world will understand it, and they'll listen to us. We have to speak in a language that's gonna be cool to juggalos, to give them a fair shake, but we want to reach them all with the real message. Rich people making it to heaven is like fitting a camel through the eye of a needle, but going to hell is as easy as walking through a gate a mile wide. That's what it says in some Bible. The chances to make it into heaven are slim and none. But the chances of making it to hell or ceasing to exist, in my beliefs, are easy as pie. All you gotta do is live a normal life, and you're probably going to hell. Because in today's world, the normal is to be wicked, is to live wicked, is to not give a fuck about others. You know what I'm saying? Is to not help. Is to drive by a stranded motorist waving you down. That's the norm, and it's hard. It's the norm to not believe in God. It's not cool to be religious. It used to be, but it's not anymore. If you walk around believing in God, people laugh at you. People fucking laugh at us. On the 6 Jokers card, when we said the Dark Carnival is God, we lost half the juggalos. Half the juggalos were like, fuck y'all. You know what I'm saying? They thought that was corny as fuck. But the other half were so incredibly touched. But we'll get to that story at the end. But that whole saying, rich people making it to heaven is slim and none, and making it to hell is easy as walking through a gate a mile wide. I mean, that rings true. Just look at TV, It's the norm to sin and to be evil. It's hard. It's a struggle. to live a righteous life. I don't believe you have to walk around fucking a holy roller preaching God everywhere. I just believe you have to do positive things and help people and live a positive life and try to be happy. And I believe you'll make it to Shangri-La. If you're more positive than you're negative, if you've done more good in the world, I believe you're all right. But if you've done more bad, if you've been a nuisance on the planet, I believe you either going to hell, if there is one, or you're going to cease to exist. Now, what would influence us to do all of this besides a higher power? I've hated people pretty much my whole life. It would have to be a higher power, because it sure as hell wasn't us that came up with this. I say God is watching over me. He's watching our shit. He's watching our back. I believe I'm rolling with Jesus, you know, not personally like Shaggy and myself in our personal lives, because we have to prove ourselves just like you do and everybody else. But the message of the Dark Carnival, the gift we've been given to tell, that came from God. I've said it 100 times. You're probably sick of hearing it. Every once in a while, like 1 out of 100, some kid will write, you know that song Rebel Flag? That really showed me what racist my parents are. And I don't want to be like that. I just want to say thanks for making a song about it. And we'll hear that the good the music is doing, you know. People hear, you know, by us making songs about killing racist people, it makes people think, yeah, I don't want to be racist either. So the negative, we hope, has positive effects. That's the idea. That's what we came up with. And that's what was given to us. The ideas, each one of them, as we go along, are given to us. To this day, the missing link, lost and found. You know, people say, hey man, those are very much like Shangri-La and Hell's Pit. Well, you know what? That's what was given to me, you know, and that's what we're gonna do. That's what we were like told to do. So we did it. You know what I mean? We did the albums as best we could. And it's a gift. It's a fucking gift.
The broken path of a dream. Shit only hurt half as bad now. When I was hungry, I was only half as hungry. If I was bored for 3 hours, it only seemed like an hour and a half. With the Dark Carnival spirits hanging around, things just seemed better than before. Our karma felt super high. My brother even sent us a fucking hard-ass earned $700 from the army to help us out with studio bills. We understood the work that had to be done. We knew we wouldn't be getting any big breaks. We knew we weren't gonna have a big radio hit. There wasn't some rapper who was gonna come along, we were gonna meet him in an elevator or something, and he was just gonna put us down and take us on tour and give us a fat-ass fucking record deal. That shit wasn't gonna come along. Nobody was gonna put us on tour and make us famous. We knew we were gonna have to do this alone, and the whole planet would be working against us. It was like, if we're gonna get 1 million fans, that means we're gonna have to hand out a fucking 1,000,000 flyers. Because only 1 in 100 are gonna even bother to read what the fucking flyer says anyway. We said, let's do it. We started with Carnival of Carnage. Alex made his first managerial move after 6,000 with Chuck Miller, produced only 3 songs, Redneck Ho, Psychopathic, and Fuck Your Rebel Flag. The money my brothers sent helped Night of the Axe get off the ground, but Alex knew we needed to make a move. Joe, let's try to find another studio, he said. What? Joey, John, and I were all shook as fuck. Alex, what if we can't find nobody as fresh as Chuck Miller, I asked. To prove my point, I got the phone book out and found this place called the Temper Mill, right in Ferndale. We knew Ferndale up and down, but we never knew of any recording studios there. Must be some old man recording bar bands or something. I'd show Alex. I'd call up the Temper Mill. A guy named Mike answered. Who do you record there? Do you guys do any rap? Yeah, he said, clearly doing something else, only paying half attention. We record rap. Great, another music ninja weirdo, I thought. Who have you recorded? Esham, Kid Rock, everybody. What is this call regarding? This Mike Ninja asked. Right away we were like, fuck this guy, he's full of that bullshit. We rolled up there to see if he was bullshitting. Mike Clark was this young ass guy with a beard and curly hair, and he schooled us. We found out that this guy Mike had done half the great local shit out there, including Esham and Kid Rock. He even showed us the tapes. We booked time right away. We went in to do a song called The Juggler. Mikey Clark schooled us that day to a level that we have yet to see anybody beat. He was the fastest ninja in music. All that snare by beat by crumb by snare that Chuck the Snake Miller pulled on us was laid to rest in 5 minutes. We somehow had stumbled onto the best in all of Michigan. Loop up a beat, get a sound, 5 minutes tops. I mean, he told us he once hooked up a track for Kid Rock while he was recording another band, waiting for the singer to get his shit together. So he was kind of the bomb diggity, y'all. At this point, we were still only concentrating on the local Detroit market, and that meant getting our albums into the local Michigan chain record store called Harmony House. They were the kings in Michigan until Best Buy shut their asses right out of business and left them with only one store left in Berkeley, Michigan, of all places, until it went under too. We had sold a few thousand copies of Dog Beats, so we figured we had a good chance of getting in there. Alex looked into it and he came back to the basement one night with the bad news.
No way, he said. Harmony House don't know who the fuck we are. Even after I told the guy our name, he forgot it right then. He was just like, beat it.
I said, I fucking got it. Why don't we just save up all our money and hire some big-ass name rappers to be on our record? My thinking was that if we get these big-name rappers, Harmony House will be like, well, this rapper sells, and so if he's on the album, this album must sell too. We decided we were gonna try and get our longtime local hero, Awesome Dre, to do a song with us. We didn't even think we could call Esham or Kid Rock at that point. Awesome Dre was older and more played out, and we figured we might have a chance of getting him. When we tracked Awesome Dre down, he was selling African beads at some cultural center on 7 Mile. He wasn't even really rapping anymore. He said he was, but he really wasn't doing shit. We set up a meeting with him and his fresh ass fucking manager. The problem now was where to meet. Alex lived with his mom in the basement. That wasn't gonna work. Joey lived upstairs at his mom's. Nope. I lived with Karen in this scrubby apartment. We figured we would clean it up and make it look really nice. Then for the meeting, pretend it was Alex's house. We even got Karen in on it. Stay in the bedroom, I told her. If you come out for something, act like you're Alex's wife. So fresh. That night of the meeting, Awesome fucking Dre came up the stairs, followed by his fresh ass fucking manager. I knew the other guy was his manager because only a local rap manager who really don't know shit at all would wear a shiny suit and have a suitcase handcuffed to his motherfucking wrists. Once again, they were straight out of a comic book. Here they come up the stairs to Karen's apartment. Awesome Dre, looking all fresh in his hip-hop gear, followed by his fresh-ass manager, some guy with a suit, do you hear me? With a handcuffed briefcase. How fucking dope is that? Straight out of a comic book. When they filed in with that kind of weird overdone business air about them, like way too professional. This was an apartment, but you would have thought they were sitting down in a boardroom with some mega ass record company talking about Janet Jackson's ass in a video or something. Nice place you got here, Alex, Dre's fresh ass manager said.
Yeah, my wife decorated it.
Alex replied. So far, so good. Nice place, 1-bedroom apartment, $300 a month. So far, so good. Of course, they were both talking about my $300 a month shithole with almost no furniture. Anyway, Dre's fresh ass fucking manager started his thing. You've got to understand something, he said. You guys doing this insane clown thing, it's putting Dre, he paused for effect, it's gonna mess with his reputation, you know? He's not used to rapping with clowns. or excuse me, white clowns, how much are you willing to pay for Awesome Dre's services? Because we would have to accept no less than $1,000. Now, the truth was, Awesome Dre haven't even thought about selling a record since 1987. And here it was 5 years later. I was starstruck because he was in my, Alex's living room. Luckily, Alex was thinking more like a businessman than I was.
Well, our budget is only $500, he said.
I just wanted to say, you know what? Fuck this. Let's cut the bullshit. Why don't you tell us what the fuck is in that suitcase you got handcuffed to your fucking wrist? I can't front no more. I gotta know. What the fuck you got in there? The Matrix? What could be so important you need that bitch handcuffed to your ass? Russian spy papers? Burger King secret recipe? Motherfucker, what? I didn't open my mouth. I just sat there and thought stupid shit like that. I was losing my shit. I whispered to Alex, "You're gonna scare him off. We'll get the money." Then the manager said, "I'll tell you what, Alex. We're all homeboys here. $750. We'll meet in the middle." Alex, even at his greenest, was a true businessman.
No, $500.
Awesome Dre's manager with his suit and his handcuffs couldn't say much after that. "I like you guys. You brought us into your home, you know. We will do it for the $500. Yes! Awesome Dre's gonna be on our album! Truth is, this guy would have done it for $150 and a slap on the ass. But you know, we all have to save face. We all shook hands and told them, "We'll pay you at the studio when you come down to do it." We set up the studio time for this song called Taste that Awesome Dre would rap on. Once we told all our friends that Awesome Dre was gonna rap on it, everybody wanted to be on this song. My brother, this other kid we knew from Southwest Detroit named Capital E, fucking everybody. When we got to the big session at the Temper Mill, who was at the studio? But the one and only Esham the Unholy. "What are you guys working on, man?" he asked. "We got Awesome Dre coming to the studio," we were all proud to reply. "Oh yeah? He's rapping on a track with y'all?" Esham asked. "Yeah," I said. "We got him for like $500. Esham had this look in his eye. "Give me that $500 right now and I'll rap on that shit," he said. What? Esham was like a giant to us, and now he was gonna rap on our track? Amidst all the wild celebration, luckily, Joey remembered Awesome Dre and his manager were on their way. "What are you gonna do when they show up wanting that $500, dog?" "Oh shit, we called Dre's manager on his cell phone." Well, I don't think he had a cell phone back then, but we called him on something. "Yeah, we lost the reels. We lost the tape reels for the song, so we have to cancel." We just spit out some stale-ass lie. How you gonna lose the tape reel at the studio? You don't even take the tape reel out of the studio for any reason. How could you possibly lose the tape reel? But that was the fucking excuse we gave Awesome Dre and his manager. Think about that. We lost the tape. The song's gone. We might as well have said, "We're fucking you guys off." You know what I'm saying? We lost the tape. We might as well just reach through the phone cord and slap them in the face, because that's how they probably took it. Classic. Dre was pissed off, and I guess he hated us after that. Esham did his verse on Taste, and we had Esham on our record. I can't tell you how fresh that was to actually have Esham on our fucking album.
Yeah, we had it for Birmingham, Grosse Pointe, and Beverly Hills. I thought you knew, cause we in a devilish mood. Guess who's rolling with the ITP? The Black Devil coming straight from the deep. I'm headed out to Birmingham, my temperature is burning, man. Looking for the governor to kill him, man. I think I can. Violent J, know the way, so I'm gonna get you. If you're standing in my way, I'm getting with you. The Black Devil, that devil you don't know. Getting more pussy than Belle Biv DeVoe. Hey man, do you know my name? I'm John with Nodis, not soul trained. So give me mine, cause it ain't about black and white. It ain't about wrong and right. I'm Devil's Night. I'm on a cross in your fucking face. Now homicide's got a new chase. So give me a taste.
So give me a taste. So give me a taste. So give me a taste. So give me a taste.
We knew we'd get in the Harmony House then. We were all way big-ass Awesome Dre fans, don't get me wrong, but fuck that, Esham was the shit. We knew Esham had a big enough name to get us in them fucking Harmony House stores. Esham had a show coming up at this big-ass rock club called The Ritz out near Alex's store. We figured we were on a roll, so I asked him, Esham, how can we get on that show with you at The Ritz? It's easy, Esham said. Give me another $500. We were seeing a pattern. Pay to play. $500, 15 minutes on stage. By now, Alex was borrowing money from his family, but it still took forever for us to get that $500 up. I was working nights at a gas station. John was still working at the pizza place. Joey even had a job for a minute until he got arrested for stealing coats at a mall, and all his money went into the lawyers. We'll get to that later. Right then, we had a show with Esham to think about. We figured the show would be huge, so our fresh idea was to get t-shirts printed. Alex found this guy Vince in Royal Oak who ran this place called Creative Print. They made t-shirts for softball teams, bowling teams, and shit like that. His big claim to fame was that he once managed a local TV guy named The Ghoul who hosted horror movies on a local Detroit station, Channel 20 back in the day. The Ghoul. I wonder if he's still got his legions of fans. He was actually sort of an underground legend when I was a kid, The Ghoul. But that was a long fucking time ago when I was a kid, because right now I'm fucking old. We brought him about 20 thin white t-shirts from Kmart, fresh out of the plastic bag, 3 in a pack, and he still silk screened our logo onto them. He charged us up the ass and thought he was done with us. Little did he know that in just a few years he'd have to close down his shop for 3 weeks at a time just to print all the t-shirts we need for our tours. I'm getting way up ahead off track though. With our fresh, extra thin Kmart brand t-shirts in hand, we doled out our second $500 to Esham to play this huge gig in front of about 250 people. The place was dead. We decided to give it the old Big Rapids College try anyway. Esham's manager and brother, James Smith, walked by and saw Joey with half his face painted. "What are you guys doing?" he asked. "We're putting our paint on." No face paint, he said. "If you guys put that paint on, you guys can't do the show, man. No fucking face paint." We weren't about to question the mighty Esham camp back then, but I do now. Tell me something. Since when does another rapper's manager tell you what the fuck you can do? Who knows? It's just another example of how much we still had to learn. We wound up going out there with big clown wigs on, orange shorts, and yellow hoodies, dancing around with big clown shoes, but no face paint. People were looking at us like, what the fuck is this? To this fucking day, I've never seen a crowd sit down on tables and chairs like that. They were a good 40 feet from the stage, every one of them sitting down on chairs. It was fucking amazing. I've never even seen that to this day. They were just quiet. It was like a library in there, and this was a fucking concert. So fucking maddening. After that terrible Esham gig, we realized the trick to getting Esham was money. So we called him up to produce 2 songs on the first Joker Card album, Carnival of Carnage. We figured that way it would look something like Esham was bringing us out. The same way NWA brought out Above the Law in DOC. We figured if Esham was producing our tracks and rapping on one of them, it looked like Esham was bringing us out. It was actually a smooth move. He agreed to produce Black in Your Eyes and the title track Carnival of Carnage for $300 a piece. We were fucking ecstatic. After that, we thought, we got Esham. Why not get Kid Rock? Mike Clark back at the Temper Mill knew Kid Rock very well. In fact, Mike did some work on Kid Rock's first album, Shit Sandwiches in My Butt, or something like that it was called. Grit sandwiches for breakfast, I think, but shit sandwiches in my butt sounds fresher to me. I think that's what it was called. Anyway, Mike called him up to hype us up. "We got this new group, ICP. They got Esham on there." Kid Rock was all about business. How much did they give Esham to rap? $500, Mike said. "All right, tell him I'll do it for $600. Done. Wow. Wow. $600 for Kid Rock, $500 for Esham. Done deal. We were tripping the fuck out. Kid Rock and Esham had kind of this feud back in the day over who was bigger. We didn't care who was bigger. We just wanted to be a part of the Esham Kid Rock scene really bad because they were actually selling records. We were smart in our tactics. By us getting them both on our debut album, that would propel us up to their local stardom status. And we knew we were right, and it worked right off the bat. Remember, this was before rappers were making mad cameos all over each other's shit like they do today. Today, even if you buy a rapper's album, he might not even be on some of the songs. They got so many guests that they let the guests rap first. You buy their album, and the first guy rapping ain't even them. I mean, today, rappers feature each other on songs like it ain't shit. I mean, every song features 3 ninjas. But back then, when you did a song with somebody, it must have meant you were down with them. And we knew it would work, and it did. The day came, and Kid Rock showed up to the studio to record Is That You? Sup, he said. Sup, I said. Kid Rock had his homie Cracker with him and a few other do-bots. Do-bot is a word I actually got from Esham. I love that word. A do-bot is a guy who hangs around with a rock star and will do just about anything for him. A do-bot laughs at all his jokes and grabs the chair out for him and all that shit. You know, one of them kids who always automatically sits in the back seat so the star can have the front. Yeah, them. Esham calls them do-bots because they'll do just about any fucking thing. Let it be known that not one of us were really fans of Kid Rock's music. We just wanted him on our record to get the respect from them big chain stores. Kid Rock was actually cool as fuck, though. He ended up getting way too fucked up and drunk that night, so he couldn't finish recording his rap. He sounded like a pig caught in a bear trap. He eventually came back the next day without his crew and a much cooler attitude to redo his vocals much better, and he even added some scratches. Good deal, free cuts from Kid Rock. Esham wound up being a little more of the take the money and run kind of guy. He didn't give a fuck. As we tried to mix the title track, Carnival of Carnage, that Esham had made for us, we listened to the words and discovered that Esham had mispronounced Carnage as Carnix. I don't know what the fuck a Carnick is, but I knew that wasn't the name of the Mighty First Joker's card. That was for sure. We called him up and explained the situation, but he wasn't having it.
That's what you said the album was called, Carnival of Carnix, right?
No, Esham, I never said that. The album is called Carnival of Carnage. What is a Carnick?
I don't know, that's what you said on the phone, Carnival of Carnix.
That's what he thought we said on the phone.
Well, you told me it was Carnival of Carnix.
He said. No, I didn't. Why would I say that? What the fuck is a Carnick anyway, I asked.
You tell me. That's what you said your album's called.
He shot back. Well, when can you do it again for us? This time just say Carnival of Carnage, I asked.
Nah, just leave it.
But he said and hung up. Like we were actually gonna leave it like that. For the rest of our life, we'd be trying to explain to people what the fuck a Carnick is. Eventually, I just redid the vocals myself. Carnival of Carnage. It's me saying that instead of Esham. Is that interesting? I doubt it is, but I just told you that whole story anyway. For the last 4 minutes, I bored your eardrums. If Carnival of Carnage was going to be the ultimate album and first Joker's card, we needed to do the ultimate promotion for it. We had about 3 months to really get ICP's name out before we released the Mighty First Joker's card. We busted ass, baby. We let the entire state know that Carnival of Carnage was coming. We were already familiar with Kinko's, but God must have shown us the light because we suddenly discovered Kinko's computer rentals. We learned learned how to make our own flyers with real typeset and do our own reversals and all that good stuff, including enlarging the words. We actually could make the words bigger and choose different fonts. It was all some over-the-top type crazy shit to us at that time. We just moved into every Kinko's in the Detroit metro area. We spent so much fucking time at Kinko's, it was a sickness for us, and we began to look like bad photocopies of our former selves. If we were on the computer, we would stay on that bitch until shift change. Once the new ninjas came into work, we would go up and explain that we'd only been on a computer for a half hour or so. As God is my witness, y'all, this would happen several times. We would be at Kinko's while somebody came into work. They would work their full day shift. They would go home and sleep and have dinner and fuck their girlfriend or whatever. And then they would get up, go to school or whatever the person does with their day and their free time. And then they would eventually return to work back at Kinko's again, and we would still be there chilling at the same table. We would be there at Kinko's 24 hours or better. This was our regular tactic. Alex would drop us off at Kinko's every night in his brown Cadillac that was so rusted out you could see the fucking street through the big ass holes in the floor. I swear to God, you had to watch where you put your fucking feet in that bitch. It was like the Flintstones buggy. We'd stay at Kinko's all night long working our asses off. Then, on Alex's way to work in the morning, he'd pick us back up. Then we'd drop him off at work and take the caddy out promoting all day. That night, it would be Alex's turn at Kinko's. We'd drop him off so we could sleep. We worked all around the clock. Something was happening to further ICP in the name of the first Joker's card. All the way around the clock, one of us was at least working on something. We'd pick Alex up back from Kinko's that next morning and drop him back off at work again, and we'd go out promoting again. This went on for weeks and weeks, months and months, years and years. By now we had a fan club of about 1,000 ninjas. So each month, we'd have to take 3 days to make our official fan club newsletter and send that out. Now we were reaching every town within a 120-mile radius. Brighton, New Baltimore, and everywhere ninjas who buy records were, we were there too. If we heard about a record store in fucking Guadalajara, we'd fucking drive out to that bitch and stock it with our tape, dog beats, and put a fucking poster up and flyers that said Carnival of Carnage was coming. I don't want to bore y'all, but this was the only thing going on in our lives. This was our complete lives at this point. I'm not leaving any freshness out. If there was some other fresh shit happening in our lives, I'd tell you, but there wasn't. I had no chicks, no friends, fuck wrestling, fuck everything else but climbing the fucking mountain to the top. Our minds were so one-tracked, I wouldn't call my mom for months. We were insane, straight up obsessed with getting our name out. That's all we gave a fuck about, was getting the name ICP out there. We fucking worked. There's two ways up the mountain, bitch. I'm gonna tell you right now. You can sit and wait to be discovered, Eminem style, and hope Dr. Dre comes along and scoops you up and makes you famous, or you can start walking that long way up that fucking mountain. And that's what we did from day one. From the time Dog Beats came out, we started walking, and we're still fucking walking. I wish to God I had other stories to break up the monotony of this period of our life, but I don't. It was promoting all day and doing Kinko shit all night, every fucking day. Weekends and fucking holidays too. Every single motherfucking day was spent trying to make it. Okay, I'll explain it like this. Here's a quick rundown of both of our daily activities. When promoting meant going to record stores and dropping off all our different types of flyers. We never used just one style of flyer. We wanted to catch everybody's eyes, and everybody's eyes are different. One kid might notice a bright blue flyer first, while another kid might notice a bright yellow one. So we needed all versions. Some ninjas like boring and straight to the point flyers. Other ninjas might like funny and comical looking flyers. So we did them all to promote the same fucking thing. We would have some flyers that would be mysterious and never show our faces. That way, whatever the ninja looking at the flyer hoped we look like, we'd look like that to him. We had thousands of different styles of flyers because there were thousands of different styles of record stores and record buyers. We would put flyers and half-size posters up at each and every store that would let us. We'd ask if we could make a display. If they let us, we'd cover the entire fucking window or walls, or should I say whatever the fuck they'd let us, with nothing but our propaganda. If it was a mall store or a chain store, they wouldn't let us hang shit in there. And then we would use our ninja tactics. For example, we would sneak to the rap section, fold up flyers, and stick them down in between the CDs and tapes. We do the same thing at the rock and punk sections, even rubber band flyers to CDs and all that shit. We put up ICP displays in the public bathrooms of McDonald's and all other fast food joints. We went to arcades, comic book shops, clothing stores, any place we thought young people would be. We flyered movie theaters, dance clubs, other people's concerts, and anywhere lots of people were gathered at. We even hit up baseball games, public beaches, and anywhere we happened to be driving by that would catch our eye and we'd see people there, we'd make a quick detour right to it. We'd be in and out of any given location in a matter of minutes. We'd hit them up with a quickness. That was just the basics of the kind of shit we did when I say we were out promoting. When at Kinko's, first of all, the main job at Kinko's would be to create all those many different styles of flyers and have posters on the rented computers. Another thing we did at Kinko's on a regular basis, which was every fucking night, was making professional looking press packages with a nice bio on the band, an 8x10, a few flyers, and some music. We would send those nicely done press packages out to big record labels, top A&R people, always trying to get signed in the background, but we didn't wait to get signed. That's the fucking difference. Yeah, we sent our shit to A&Rs and to record labels, but we didn't sit around and wait for them to come fucking calling. We kept working on building our own name, which is what we still do to this day. And we're our own bosses. And we don't have to say yes or no, and we don't have to get anything approved. We do everything ourselves. Fuck big record labels telling you how to do shit. What the fuck do they know anyway? We'd use Kinko's to map out our promoting tactics for the week. We'd run our fan club, design our tape and CD booklets, handle our consignment receipts, type and copy our lyrics, send letters out to out-of-state record stores telling them they should order our product, and on and on and on. They don't even have Kinko's anymore. People are probably thinking, what the fuck is a Kinko? Why? Because people got fucking computers in their watches now. They don't need to go to Kinko's. Think of how played out John Kinko is himself. You know what I'm saying? Think of how paid he is, though. John Kinko came through right at the beginning of computers, opened up 400,000 Kinko stores across America, got fucking fat paid for about 4 years until computers came out everywhere in everybody's phones, and then John Kinko retired. He's probably on some Caribbean beach with some exotic hottie sucking both his dicks right now. Why does he have two dicks? Because he's fucking twice as paid as the regular Richie. Like I said before a million times, we worked so hard for so long that failure was never an option. Ask us, did we know we'd make it? Yes, we fucking knew we would reach what we considered to be success. No, ICP has never had top 40 radio hits or anything like that, so to you, maybe we never succeeded. But to us, the level of poorness we came from, we have succeeded greatly, my friend. So suck my penile. Right from day one, we had come too far to stop now, but not everybody felt the same though. The slavery we were putting into ourselves, promoting for ICP and Carnival Carnage, had already started to break our crew into two halves. One half was down for rapping and busting ass for the Mighty Dark Carnival, and the other was still down for thieving and parties and didn't want all the new responsibilities. I was pretty much the leader of the rapper side of things. We were the scrubbiest, tiredest, hungriest, most devoted motherfuckers of the bunch. Just me, Joey, the Dale brothers, and sometimes Rudy. We were the ones ready to die for the cause. Me and Joey leading the pack. Then there was John and the whole other party side of the crew. Joey's older brother John just wasn't quite as hungry, I should say. They were the better off ones, getting all the Ned and going to the parties and having the girlfriends. When we would spend long night at Kinko's, they were always the ones who had chicks waiting for them to come home. They had other things going on in their lives besides promoting. Me and Joey didn't have it like that. The Dale brothers, we didn't have it like that. We didn't have that shit. Now you have to understand, as focused as we were on ICP, I still thought of John as my best friend. Joey was still my boy's little brother, even though John and I always got along so much stronger. John had a girlfriend though, he didn't like the clown makeup, and as I mentioned before, no matter how much we tried, he wouldn't get rid of that Dylan from Beverly Hills 90210 haircut of his. You have to realize that was an old show, but he looked something like Zach Morris from Saved by the Bell, which is also an old show. I don't know what the fuck he looked like today, okay? He looked like a metrosexual. So he was rough on both Joey and I for different reasons. We already strategically kept John off most of Carnival of Carnage songs, which was just as well, because after a while he just wouldn't show up to studio anyway. One weekend, we all decided to actually take the whole weekend off from any ICP related work. Actually, we had no choice but to take the weekend off because Alex had gone out of town with his family. Joey, the Slaymass Kid Jeff, and I all decided to go with John to up north Michigan to see John's hoe-ass girlfriend at the time, Crystal. I hated that bitch because in my mind, and in everybody else's, she stole John's brain from him. Everybody knew she was a hoe. How and why John was always willing to let it slide, I'll never understand. When she moved up north, Joey and I thought that meant John would have more time for the band. And he did in some ways. In other ways, it just meant he would take mad trips all the way out to see that bitch. On one trip up there, we listened to Dog Beats. All John could say was, "This is the shit, man." We had good karma, all of us, and John was especially feeling good about things. It was like we were the old crew again, even if we were going to visit that bitch that started to break it all up for us. When we got out to Crystal's, it was late. We just went to sleep, feeling like a unit again, until the next morning at least. Joe, what should I do? What should I do? That kid Jeff woke me up in a panic. What happened? I asked, still half asleep. I fucked Crystal 3 times last night. Wow, I didn't see this coming at all. However, I didn't even hesitate to have my boy John's back. I jumped up and quickly whipped open the door to the bedroom where he was sleeping next to that little slut. "John, wake up, man. John, get up, dog. Listen, man. Jeff fucked her 3 times last night." Jeff panicked and ran. John was a gumpy, slow ass, but I was a tall, skinny kid back then. John started running after Jeff, but he couldn't catch the kid. I ran right past John and beat Jeff down in the street like a dog. I beat the shit out of that kid for John. On the way home, John was shook as fuck, screaming and driving like a maniac. "Fucking bitch, I'm gonna kill myself. I'm gonna drive off the fucking road right fucking now." I tried to calm him down. "John, give me the wheel." "Fuck that bitch, John. Just give me the wheel." When we stopped at a rest area, John was still out of his mind, walking around kicking shit. Then he started opening up to me like he had never opened up to me before in all our lives. "Joe, you've been my best friend since 7th grade, man. I left you hanging over that bitch. I admit, I left all you guys hanging over that bitch, but you're still here with me. You're my best friend, dog." Then he hugged me. Once we got home, I thought John was going to be a full-time homie on his way to rapping again. For a short while, we were some Kinko's players working on our dream together like 3 best friends. Me, John, and Joey, the original ICP, baby. Inner city fucking posse, all the way to Insane Clown Posse. Me, John, and Joey. 2 months went by, and John met another girl. Out of absolutely nowhere, he just up and quit the group. right when Carnival of Carnage was finished and just about to come out, right when Alex had taken out an $8,000 loan to pay for the album to get pressed up, right when we needed John to be down with us the most, right when he had just rapped on a bunch of songs all over the album, right when we were about to come out with the first Joker's card, he up and he was out. He quit the group over a bitch. The workload was too much and the bitch's pussy must have just fucking been too tasty, cause he said, fuck this, I'm out. And he quit ICP right as Carnival of Carnage was dropping. Can you believe it? The first Joker's card arriving on this planet, and we were working our hardest at this very point, and that's when he quit, when we needed him the most, when we needed his money from his job, when we needed to help us put the fucking flyers out, when we needed the homie, the karma, everything. He quit the fucking group. I gotta admit, I was crushed. Joey was crushed. It was just beyond lame of him to quit the group. Right when Carnival of Carnage was finished. We tried to get John to come to a meeting in Alex's basement to talk about it. All he would say was, yeah, I'm out of the group. It's taking up too much of my life. Joey even got on the phone with his mom. Just get him to come to another meeting so we can talk about it, Ma. John finally got on the phone and said, all right. We waited and waited in Alex's basement, but he never showed up. He was gone for good. We were fucking pissed. We were hurt. We were confused and amazed that somebody could be that fucking lame to leave us all hanging that hard. It must have just gotten to him. The hours and hours of work were too high of a price for him to pay. When I think about it now, I can understand not wanting to pay that many dues for anything in life. I'll admit, the time and work we put into ICP was insane for anybody. It was unreal, and it still is, and it still can be. But I understand why John left the group. I really do. It's kind of like anybody sane would have left. What I don't understand is why he left at that moment. I can't understand leaving your friend and your own brother hanging right when they need you the most. That I'll never understand. We spent so much time and energy and money on one goal. He just didn't want it that bad. We felt different emotions at that moment, but one was stronger than the rest. Worry. After John said he was out of the group, Alex and my eyes shot right to Joey with the quickness. We looked right at Joey right then and there. His big brother had just walked right out of fucking ICP. It was just me and Joey. Two guys? How could that be? We had an album with 3 guys rapping on it. We didn't have the money or the fucking know-how to go back and remix the album and take John off of it. This is before Pro Tools, man. This is reel-to-reel 20-inch tape, all right? We didn't have the money to go back and remix and take him off all those songs. We looked at Joey like, what's up, dog? It was not a big decision for Joey. John was his brother. They lived together. They had the same mom. They'd been inseparable for their whole lives. As I said before, Joey was just looked at as John's little brother by everybody, even by me at times. He was always my boy, but he was John's little brother. Out of the blue, completely out of nowhere, it was up to him to stand alone on a major life decision. That little ninja didn't even hesitate 5 seconds. Shit, I'm in, y'all. Joey was fucking down at that moment. Joey was stronger and fresher than he had ever been in his entire life. It wasn't even an issue for him. It was like my respect, my love, my karma, my compassion for Joey just rocketed up. Like a thermometer in a microwave. It just fucking exploded to a level never before seen. And suddenly Joey, it's hard to explain, but suddenly Joey that day became my little brother too. We don't need John anyway, Joey said. He can't even rap that fucking good, right? It was clear.
We were engulfed by the dark carnival's magic, and nothing could stop us. It was Joey and I from then on. I loved it. I fucking love it now. We're perfect together. We left behind John and the rest of those guys to continue their lives of thieving, to survive getting drunk and high at parties, and spending all their time they want with their girlfriends. We didn't want to ever go out like that. Joey and I wanted to come up from out of nowhere and change the whole fucking planet. We were just about to start achieving our goal with the release of the first Joker's card, Carnival of Carnix. Carnival of Carnage, baby. After that horrible rich show with Isham, we met this big stocky kid with a big truck on big wheels in the parking lot. We were depressed as hell that night, but he came right up to us like we just sold out Cobo Arena. Man, you guys are the shit. This Dog Beats tape is the bomb, he said, and stuck out his hand. I'm Eric, but everybody calls me Greasy. Right away, we knew he was kind of a player. He was connected to the Detroit music scene in a way we had never seen before. He wasted no time talking about getting local clothing companies to get us free shit, how he could get us into this nightclub where he worked at for free, and how he knew people here and there, all kinds of good shit. Greasy was a city guy, connected with the nightlife of Detroit. He worked security at a place called St. Andrew's Hall, a legendary Detroit venue where all the greats have played. All the greats have played. Every major band played, from 50 people to when they just started out, like Nirvana and Pearl Jam, 9 Inch Nails, and eventually us, playing for nobody. Rage Against the Machine, all of them have come through St. Andrew's Hall. At that point, we had never been inside it or any other club. We had been there before, but just to fly at a parking lot. Going to St. Andrew's with Greasy was our first time ever being inside a nightclub in our lives. As soon as we stepped in a place, Joey was like, holy shit, man. All the times we were searching for Ned in the Valari or my mom's Jeep, we could have been just coming here. Look at all these bitches. We never fucking knew about any of this scene. All we did was flyer these places because they were just not for us. We never thought we'd ever fit into a place like this. Let me tell you a little story. When I was living in North Carolina, my brother and I were walking down these train tracks near the parking lot of some club. We leaned against the fence and saw all these hot girls and all these army kids coming in and out of the club with the music all loud. I looked at my brother and said, Rob, we belong on this side of the fence. He was like, yup, you're right. When other kids were at parties, we were by ourselves doing shit like exploring abandoned buildings in downtown Detroit or sneaking into Canada through the train tunnel under the Detroit River. We were scrubs, and we couldn't forget it. Truth was, we didn't want to. When Greasy first took us to St. Andrews for that first time, he did his best to make us feel like we belonged there. He knew every fucking buddy, the whole downtown Detroit clique. We didn't even know it existed. Hey, Greasy, what's up, man? People just wanted to slap his hand all night. He introduced us to these long-haired guys in leather jackets who'd be like, yeah, I'm in a band too. They'd just be sitting there sipping on a drink with some bitch in their arm. That's what being in a band was for them, sitting around talking about it. For us, every fucking night was flyers and flyers and flyers and promoting. There was no time for personal life at all for us, but we've been over that. Man, everybody in that place said they were in a band too. I just kept thinking, how? How are you? What are you all doing in here if you're in a band? Aren't you, are you about to play or something? If not, where's your fucking flyers? Even at that very moment, Joey and I had a stack of flyers rolled up in our hands. As we were walking around, it was just an instinct to keep handing out flyers and putting them down on the tables and on the counters in the bar. We had a rolled up stack on us at all times, 24/7. After all, the release of Carnival of Carnage was right around the corner by now. Even though we knew we really didn't belong in that band scene, we knew we had to conquer it. We had to get inside of it, figure it all out, rape and plunder it for all it was worth and get the fuck out. That's exactly what we did too. We took the Detroit band scene for everything it was worth, and we left it for dead afterwards. Wow, I thought, all these other bands and studio ninjas are all up in here every night. Okay, we gotta be here too. Greasy got me, Joey, and even my brother, he was actually finally out of the army by now. He got us all a job at St. Andrews Hall working security. Every night we'd see some lame-ass local band playing to an empty-ass room. I noticed how the big national touring acts did things differently. Here's a breakdown of the two. National bands. Once or twice a week, a national act would come through and play at St. Andrews Hall. They put on a show. They had fans. First of all, you would never see anybody setting up the stage or tuning their own instruments before the show. They always had other people doing it, or the curtain would remain shut. Then when it was finally showtime, they always had some type of fresh intro and the curtain would open. It was always exciting. Even if you had never heard of the band, a dope-ass intro always got you going good. When the band would finally start playing, the lead singer would come out and he would be feeling it. He would be screaming, crying, fucking humping the mic stand, rolling around on the floor, all kinds of crazy shit. You know, just straight up putting it on full blast. The fans would be packed in, and they would be loving it. Then they'd have like 10 different t-shirts and all kinds of merchandise for sale. They would usually have a sexy chick or two selling the merchandise, which probably sells an extra 20% right there, because buying something automatically gives the guy a reason to talk to her. Straight up, you would never see the band, not once before they first took the stage. Then after the show, you would never see them again. The only time you would ever see that national band is when they were up on that stage, larger than life, up under the lights, and doing what they do best. They were always in and out of the club like ghosts, like true superstars. Now, let's talk about local bands. For most of the week, I'd sit and watch shitty local band after shitty local band. Even their names all sounded the same to me. Every local band in Detroit had the same kind of alternative geeky rock name. Shit like Crackerfish, or Cement Lush, or Big Blockface, or some stupid fucking name that nobody knew what the fuck ever meant. The first thing you'd see that night is the fucking band themselves setting up all their own shit right there on stage in front of everybody. They'd sit there and tune their fucking guitars and tape up their song list in front of everyone. Maybe you'd see them lighting some lame candles or hanging up a stupid banner for effect or whatever. You could see the fucking curtain right there off to the side, and I remember thinking, what the fuck is wrong with these guys? Why don't they just reach the fuck over and pull that curtain shut? They could at least give some fucking effort to be fresh. Then when the idiots finally done adjusting all their shit and ready to play, the lead singer guy would just lean to the mic and he'd say something in a low, boring tone, something like, "Thanks for coming, we're Crackerfish." Then they'd break right into a song. I'd be thinking, wait a minute, how fucking stale was that? Tell me something. Was that supposed to be the fucking intro? What the fuck are these guys doing out here? Are they actually trying? During the show, the band would look like statues. They would all be standing there embarrassed to show any real emotion or get really into it. The only time they would actually move is when they all jumped at the same time to end a song together. Wow. Bam! You would sit there and watch these fucks waving and nodding to their friends in the crowd all night, basically looking like busters for their whole set. Then 5 minutes after the show finished, they'd be done loading all their shit into their homie's van. You'd see them walking around through the crowd, talking to their friends. I remember thinking, how the fuck is anybody ever gonna take these guys seriously? Look at them over there selling their own fucking t-shirts, walking around through the crowd, just hoping somebody will come up to them and give them some props. Truth is, they ain't never gonna get no props from anybody. They already played themselves out by walking around through the crowd all fucking night like nobodies. Then during the show, mentioning they've got tapes and shirts for sale every 5 fucking minutes only made them look worse. I knew what was up even when I was young in the game. We just sit back night after night and take it all in. Joey and I just waited for our turn to be evaluated.
We scraped up all the money we could from our jobs at St. Andrews Hall, Dog Beach record sales, and Alex's amazing tactics, and it was on. We did it. It was finally time. We pressed up 2,000 cassettes of Carnival of Carnage and finally put it out. October 18th, 1991. The first Joker's card had arrived. That's October 18th, 1991. The first Joker's card was in stores. The day it came out, there were ninjas waiting for it when Hot Hits Records opened. We couldn't believe it. All the promotion was actually working. We were getting orders for Carnival Carnage from record stores all over the Detroit area. I sent one out to my good friend Rob Van Dam, who by now was living in Atlanta. Rob was steady climbing up the ladder in his own career, pro wrestling, and I was proud as fuck to watch him. Talking to him was always cool as fuck because he was always watching me climb in my career too. He loved the album even more than Dog Beats. I would send him tons of tapes and he would give them out to his homies in Atlanta and wherever he would be wrestling at. Talking with Rob Van Dam would always boost my karma because he was such a fan of what we were doing. It made it all seem very possible. We can do this, y'all. We needed to keep it going non-stop. We decided to book our first big concert, the one that would introduce the band's world, Carnival of Carnage and the Dark Carnival, to St. Andrews Hall. By now, I had driven poor Karen completely crazy. She was in mad debt because of me. I'm not gonna front. I was an asshole. We had just ended it before things got any worse. Between Kinko's and flying and recording, I had no time for her anyway. I straight left her, y'all, and took her money with me. It was a scandalous move, but I thank her to this day. Karen Chita, if you're alive, thank you, sweetie. First of all, thank you for the Nedden. It was my first. And second of all, thank you for the money that helped launch the first Joker's card. Thank you. And I hope you don't look at our relationship as a negative. I hope you look at it as something that was cool and fun and maybe even positive when we were both young, starting off our lives. I hope my dick was as good as your Nedden. When I left her with some damage. She was in debt $47,000 and every penny was because of me. God, I'm sorry. I truly am. She made all this possible. I love you for that, Karen. Wherever you are, get a hold of me and I'll pay you back every penny. I swear it. Just get a hold of me and hopefully we can even fuck. One day while Karen was at work, Greasy came over in his big-ass truck and we loaded it up with my stuff. I moved in with him into his apartment on the east side. With the show coming up at St. Andrews, we asked Greasy to fill in and cover John's lyrics on stage. He knew all the words to the shit anyway, so he was down with it right off the bat. We just wanted him on stage with us because all the flyers and pictures we had plastered all over the state for the last year showed that there were 3 clowns in ICP, not 2. We didn't want to show any signs of weakness this early in the game, like our band was already falling apart or something. So we needed Greasy to fill in for John's shoes for this time. Nobody noticed a thing. Working security, I met another girl named Lori, who also worked at St. Andrews. And she worked at Record Time Records, which was probably the biggest record store besides Harmony House that would sell our shit. For that reason alone, she was the perfect girlfriend for me. We had an inside person now at 2 popular record stores to push our shit on people. We had Alex at Hot Hits and Karen at Record Time. Plus, she didn't mind spending all night at Kinko's working in the fan club newsletters, which were now going out to a whopping 1,500 people. I don't know what it was that attracted Lori to me. Maybe it was my drive in all of this. I do know what it was about her that attracted me. While Lori and Alex were at Kinko's, we'd be at Greasy's place rehearsing for the big show. Now to this day, I cannot tell you why. Why in God's name, for our first show on our own, we did what we did. Somehow, we thought it would be a good idea to do sequenced robot dance routines. You see, I really wanted to put on a great show, but I just went way overboard. Our idea was to be something like MC Hammer's show, but wicked. If that's even possible. A wicked MC Hammer show. Like there could even be such a thing.
What it turned out to be was just stupid robot moves for the worst part of an hour. We had drawn about 240 people to St. Andrews, which was pretty good for our first concert ever. At least all of them were bunched up against the stage this time and not sitting back at the tables like at the Isham show. After about the third song, they weren't having the robot routine. "What the hell are y'all doing?" someone screamed. "Are you gonna rock this bitch or what?" another one yelled. The truth was, we were so winded from running around doing our stupid robot moves, we could only rap about 40% of the song. For the rest, we just put the mic down and let the beat play. Yo, it was fucking horrible. God, it was seriously the worst thing we've ever fucking done. And after the Big Rapids and Isham shows, that was saying something. At least the Harmony House tactic of getting guest rappers worked. Carnival Carnage was being sold everywhere, including all 36 Harmony House locations. We just put that style show behind us and pretended like it never happened. In fact, I never even thought about it since then until just now. I could have just left it out of this book, but no, I must tell you about everything, even the stale shit, like the stale robot moves show with Greasy. Oh, such staleness. I feel so stale. Woe is me. I remember that show, and it was stale. Our very first in-store autograph signing session was set up at Alex's Hot Hits Records. We didn't think ICP was anywhere close to being big enough yet to do it alone, so we asked Kid Rock if he'd do it with us. Alex called him up, and he was down because finally he had another record getting ready to come out called The Polyfuse Method. Kid Rock was down to do anything to help sell his new shit, so it appeared that we had good timing. We were geeked. Man, we're gonna do an in-store with Kid Rock! This is gonna be the shit! We talked about it for days as we staple gun flyers all up and down Gratiot Avenue, miles in each direction from Hot Hits. I remember ninjas would see us staple gunning flyers to telephone poles and shit. They'd walk up to us and say, "Hey man, ain't that you on the flyer?" We'd be like, "No, that ain't us, get out of here." It never worked. The ninjas always knew it was us. "Bullshit, that's you right here on the flyer." Ha! Look at you, it's you! I hated that. I just tell them to fuck off and keep flying. For 6 weeks, flyers with Meet ICP and Kid Rock, free autograph sessions were stapled to everything. Telephone poles, the sides of buildings, trash cans, taped to the backs of old ladies, anything and everything. Me and Joey, Billy and Rudy and Nate wallpapered every tree in Michigan. It paid off. The day of the in-store came. As we drove up Gratiot, we could see kids lined up outside down the street. Whoa! I was so nervous sitting down with all those kids lined up. I couldn't even hold my ink pen straight. I felt stupid because the first kids in line could see my hand shaking. Kid Rock had to play the rock star role, so he hadn't showed up yet. The kids were like, "Fuck Kid Rock, we came to see you guys anyway." We were in straight up shock, for real y'all, in total shock. We couldn't fucking believe it. When Kid Rock finally showed, he couldn't believe it either. Kids would blow right past him to get to us. Wow. "So how good is your album doing?" he asked me. "You guys seem like you're getting big, man." "Hey, I'm on that album, right?" Yeah, you're on it." I said, "We sold about 6,000 copies. "That's the shit," he said. "You got a long way to go, but that's still pretty good, you know, for you guys." The following week, Alex went to this big-ass music industry convention in Cincinnati. It was mostly bullshit, as those conventions usually are. He did have this to share with us when he got back. "Okay, I got some good news, guys. Here's the real deal. I asked a bunch of top record label people some questions face to face, and I finally got the lowdown on how all this really, truthfully, basically works. Are you ready?" We were like, yeah, spit the magic info." He dropped the news. "Here's how it works in the mind of a major record company. If you're an unsigned band out there, and you sell 5,000 records on your own, you'll have every record company waiting to sign you," he said. We couldn't believe it, because we had already sold more than that. We were happy as hell. Alex continued, "If you sell 7,500 records, you'll have them all straight up eating out of your hand. If you somehow manage to sell 10,000 records on your own, you'll have them flat out sucking your dick." Hell yeah, I said. We were already at 6,000 units. This was some good news. This is the shit. Record labels are about to start calling. They didn't though, and they wouldn't for years to come. we'd have to keep on keeping on selling, doing it ourselves. Our karma was so high after that in-store and Alex getting back from that convention, we booked another big show. This time at the Magic Bag at this old converted porn theater right there in Ferndale. It only held 350 people, so we were pretty sure we could sell it out with the hard enough work. We were actually making some money from Carnival of Carnage selling well, so we quickly wanted more product. We were still starving, dirt fucking nearing homeless poor, but at least we could pay studio bills a little bit quicker. We hooked back up with our new main studio ninja, the incredible Mikey Clark, who really didn't think very much of us yet, but we did do an EP called Beverly Kills 50187, and Mikey Clark had so many rappers on his dick calling him up, trying to book studio with him back then, that we were just another group of rappers on his dick. The time with him, all hours of the day, was always booked up, and we were just more clients trying to fit some room on his mushroom cap. We were low on his priority list back then, it's true. Many times we would get to the studio for our reserve session and Mike would never even show up. That happened not just once or twice, at least 15 or 20 times. We managed to secure his services enough to bang out a pretty dope ass EP right quick. We decided to premiere it at our big Magic Bag show in Ferndale. We didn't realize how much some of the locals hated us until one night when Greasy and I were out promoting our asses off, flyering at this bar in the Cass Corridor area of Detroit. It was a hip-hop night of some sort, and this rap group from Mount Clemens called Doc Rouncy and the Black Man were doing a show. At one point, they had been Kid Rock's backup guys around 1988 or 89. Anyway, I had met them before, and they were cool enough. They suddenly called me out on the stage and decided to straight up put me on Front Street. Hey, it's ICP, they said from the stage. This guy Joe wants us all to go see them at the Magic Bag, right Joe? One of them asked right from the fucking stage. They invited me up, which I was kind of surprised by. But what the hell? They had a live band backing them up, so I busted a fresh verse off the song Psychopathic on Carnival of Carnage. Then I hopped right off the stage. It was all good, I guess. On the way out of the venue, I stopped to watch a fight that was happening in the parking lot. I recognized them right away. It was this rapper crew from the east side. They looked like a bunch of Rastas with long-ass dreadlocks and shit. They were there because they were down with Doc Rouncy and the Black Man, I guess. Anyway, they were fighting some dude and basically whipping his ass. Then the dude's bitch jumped in, and she got tossed to the floor hard. I thought it was funny, but my homie Greasy didn't. He jumped in and tried to break up the whole fight, and he was my boy and I had his back. I thought, man, if anybody swings on Greasy, I gotta swing on them. Sure enough, one of them guys hit Greasy, so I put that guy in a front fucking headlock. And I was gonna do this backward suplex move that I had been known for doing from time to time. I usually can cripple a kid with this move, but not this time. As soon as I put that kid in the headlock, I felt 100 blows light up the back of my head. There must have been 4 or 5 guys standing right behind me, and they immediately started blowing my head out from behind. The rest of the guys' crew were all over me. I can't front, y'all. They lit me up. No exaggeration. It had to be about 4 or 5 guys punching me at once. I tried to get away. I just took off running forward at full speed. Suddenly, I felt a sharp, blinding pain in my chest. It felt like a bullet hit me. No, I realized I'd been stabbed. Popped. I stopped running and looked at my bloody chest while the Bob Marleys caught up to me and kept beating on my head. You want me to be honest with y'all right now? How's this for honesty? That shank went so deep and so hard into my chest, I shit my drawers right there. Yup, I shit my pants, y'all. I didn't know it at that second, but I found out a minute later. How's that for honesty? I could have just left that part out, but nope. I shit a grip of poop. I don't know how that happened. Maybe the knife just hit a poop nerve or something. I started running again with Shabba and his band on my ass, swinging nothing but lethal blows. I don't know how I managed to stay conscious. I ran back into the club where the concert was still going on. They were still on me. I ducked and dodged between some people and ran back outside through a different door. I just kept running. I ran through another door, and I somehow found myself next door door to the club and a Chinese restaurant. I ran upstairs and ducked into the woman's bathroom, covered in blood and having just shit myself. I resorted back to my old third grade tactic of taking off my underwear, making sure this time my name wasn't written on the waistband, and throwing them in the garbage can. Then I thought, the fight might still be going on. I gotta go find Greasy. I ran back outside of the club only to see Greasy and his big ass truck driving away. I called Lori to come get me. And when I got home and got in bed, I thought I was okay. The next morning, holy shit, I couldn't feel the right side of my body. I made Lori take me to the hospital. I wish I had a big dramatic story about how it was an inch from my heart, but it was just a puncture wound. I realized why I got beat down so bad. When Doc Ronci and the black men called me up onto the stage, they were being sarcastic. Hey, this guy thinks he's the shit because he sold 5,000 records, which nobody in Detroit had done, by the way. That was just the beginning of the player hating by other local Detroit acts. I'd been seeing these bullshit local band showcases 3 nights a week working at St. Andrews. There was never any headliner because not one of those bands could headline. ICP never took that route. Even after the first Esham gig, we were the headliners, and the Magic Bag Show was gonna prove it. After I got stabbed, I finally quit St. Andrews because I was scared I'd run into that rap group again. Or worse, I'd be spotted by my old enemies from Southwest who had started to make the club their Friday night hangout, sometimes showing up 20 fucking deep. To make a short story even shorter regarding Greasy and his rap career with ICP, he met a cute little Asian girl and quit the band. I have never seen a guy change his wild ways over a woman as quick as he did. Wow, Greasy was the pinnacle of Detroit's happening club scene, and out of nowhere, he fell in love and left it all behind. He was a cool-ass ninja, and I'm sure he's doing fine nowadays. Last I heard, he was entering the shoot-fighting world. That's right, mixed martial arts were just starting out back then, and he was one of the first guys I'd ever heard of that was doing it. Mixed martial arts in a cage. MMA, baby. Ultimate fights. He was whipping major ass. I even heard he fights in Thailand now. This book is about me, so enough about Greasy. Eric, if you're reading this, I hope you're okay, homie. Peace and much love. With Greasy gone, it was time for another trip to Alex's basement. It'll just be us from now on, we said in the meeting. Just Joey and Joe and nobody else. That's the way the Dark Carnival must want it anyway. Now, all I had to do was sort out a place to live. Mind you, we were all super broke. Luckily, Lori was down to get a place with me. The Dark Carnival works in mysterious ways. We moved into a tiny shack on top of a laundromat on Mack Avenue across the street from a crack haven. I'm talking 4 crack houses all run by one gang. Showtime. Between Alex and Lori both pushing tickets at the record stores they worked at, and between me, Joey, and Billy flying and promoting half the motherfucking globe every fucking day, the Magic Bag gig finally sold out on the day of the show. 350 ninjas. The Magic Fag Show was our very first in many ways. It was our first sold out show. It was our first as just Violent J and Shaggy 2 Dope. And it was our first show with no lame dance routines planned. Most importantly, it was the first time we'd ever thrown Fago. It was all some heavy drama that night. We invited Esham to come and do a live song with us on stage called Chop Chop that was on the Beverly Kills 50187 EP. Esham said he would come rock it. He showed up with his homies Nodis. They asked if we could play Esham's brand new CD they had just released called Kill the Fetus. The CD was about 70 minutes long, but we agreed to play what we could for the crowd between the opening acts and us went on. Before we went on, we were playing Esham's CD and all was well, but the crowd was getting bored. We said, come on, let's do this. Let's go on. Esham asked us to play just a little bit more of his disc first. We started stall another 10 minutes or so when Alex finally stepped up to the soundboard and something like, "Fuck this shit, man. Let's just take it off and start the show already. We gotta do this." Isham's homie happened to be standing there, heard Alex's outburst, and took it all crazy wrong. He ran backstage and told Isham what he thought he had just seen and heard. Isham, being as crazy as he is, grabbed the mic and walked out onto the stage out of nowhere. The place went nuts when they saw him. Why not? He was the king of Detroit's wicked shit. Then he said, "ICP are my homies and all, but they got a fucked up manager, y'all. Somebody say fuck Mr. Alex, yo!" The crowd chanted along in response, "Fuck Mr. Alex, yo!" Then after a couple chants of that, Isham threw down the mic, destroying our only spare, and stormed out the side entrance of the Magic Bag. Let me tell y'all something about drama. It's funny because it can mislead you in so many ways. Sometimes its bark is way bigger than its bite, or sometimes you don't realize it, but you just might have tapped into something that could lead to drama over years. A lot of times we underestimate ourselves and our capabilities during these crises. If you would have told me that shit was gonna happen earlier, I would have passed out like a bitch in love. Once we were standing there chilling and it actually happened, your mind, your body, and your soul automatically adjust to the situation. And that's what we did. We were like, fuck it then, oh well, the show must go on. We went out there and started the show like nothing had ever happened. Alex was hysterical though. He came running backstage screaming like, "Oh my God, what did I do? What was all that about? What the fuck is this deal? What the fuck was that about?" The Fago Truth. We've been known to bullshit the press and lie our asses off just to try and sound funny or whatever. But yo, here it goes. The absolute truth about how the Fago thing all got started. During that show, we had a table set up behind us in the middle of the stage. On the table was a giant round bucket full of Fago 2 liters in various flavors. The day of that show, we decided to have it there. We'd set it up on the table so that the fans could see it. We always mentioned it in our rap songs, so we figured it'd be cool if the fans at the show seen us swigging off some Fago on stage. That was our plan and intention concerning the Fago on stage. Nothing more and nothing less. That's the truth. During the show, about 20 minutes into it, the shit died down and we were just rapping and rapping. We were kind of boring, I guess. I felt like that anyway. Then it happened. I seen this kid at the dead center of the crowd. He was just standing there with his arm raised, flipping us off. That hurt. I was steady thinking, what makes this kid think that just because he's in the crowd and we're up on stage, he can get away with flipping us off? The truth was, I was winded and tired enough as it was, so I just walked back, unscrewed a full 2-liter of Fago, and whipped it right at his ass. What happened to him as a result of that flavor is unknown. The place just straight up erupted though. The loudest pop of the night. Then Joey threw one off in the kid's direction. Much to our surprise, the pop started flying back at us from the crowd. I don't know if the people hated us or loved us for it, but they were going crazy. And we kept doing it until finally the Magic Bags manager, this stupid bitch, actually climbed up on the stage in a panic for fear of her venue being destroyed and grabbed the Fago bucket. But then from out of nowhere, Alex came to the rescue and also grabbed the Fago bucket. They were struggling over it right in front of the fans. Right in front of everybody. Me and Joey just kept grabbing 2 liters out of the bucket, opening them up, and throwing them everywhere. It was fucking pure pandemonium. Alex and the lady are fighting over the bucket. Me and Joey are throwing Fagos into the crowd. People are going fucking crazy. And the rest, my friends, is Juggalo history. This also marked the first time we ever stage dived, as Joey soared off a stage monitor for the first time that very night. That would set off a chain reaction of suicidal dive fest for the rest of our career. At the end of the show, I had levels of karma never before seen so high. I addressed the Isham diss from earlier. Fuck Isham for that, y'all. That was bullshit. Fuck him for dissing Alex, I told the crowd. Half the crowd booed and the other half popped for us. We had felt we had to say something in Alex's honor. After all, he's as much ICP as me and Joey all day long. I didn't know what was gonna happen when I said that. I expected bullets to rip at me. We felt all in all the fucking show was a solid fucking success. An historical night. Later, we went out to eat to celebrate. Look, you guys, Alex said, we made $4 grand at the merch table. That means the company as of this meal is self-sufficient. Then we asked for the bill, which was fresh because I lost all my money stage diving. What Alex was saying was from then on, we could do this full time. We even had enough money to promote all day, every day. We even had the loot to go out and do this rap convention called Jack the Rapper in Atlanta the following month. We were sure we were going to get a record deal there. Our karma couldn't have been any higher. I drove home with Lori not really saying anything, just thinking about everything, all the possibilities, thinking about the Fago flying, how we dissed Isham and even still got people cheering for us. It was just crazy how it was all coming into focus, how the things that were happening just started to make sense. They were part of a bigger picture that was suddenly we were able to see. Juggaloism. And also what was on my mind was Isham and what were the after effects of tonight's madness. What would become of tonight's madness? No sooner than an hour after I got home, there was a knock at the door. I looked out my fresh window above the laundromat and saw it was Isham. I thought 100% for sure he was gonna jump me with his boys and just whip my ass for dissing him on stage. Rappers might be rappers, but being in the rap game does anything but take the street out of somebody. Believe me, I thought about it and I was like, fuck it. If I don't go out there, they might bust up Lori's car or whatever. Fuck it, I thought. I'll just have to go out there and get it over with. I walked outside and stood there expecting to get attacked at any second from behind or from wherever. Nope, it was just Isham chilling alone. He asked me, did you say something about me on stage tonight? I said, fuck yeah, I did, man. Why wouldn't I? Look what you said about Alex. Look what you did to us. He said, cause I ain't with that rap battle shit. We can handle this right now. He pulled out a gat. Right off the bat, I knew Isham was smarter than that. I was also insulted that he figured I was bitch made like Kid Rock probably would have been. I said to him, come on, man. I just said fuck Isham on stage 2 hours ago. And then suddenly I wind up shot dead? I wonder who did it. I know you ain't stupid enough to fucking shoot my ass. I know you're pissed off, and I would be too. Fuck, man. What the fuck would you have done if somebody would have pulled that shit off at your show? What if I was like, fuck Mr. James, yo? You would have ran out there and busted my ass, right? Well, what the fuck? This is my camp, my fam, my show. And we love Alex, just like you do James. You dissed him on stage at our show that we spent the last 2 months trying to get everybody to come see. Damn right I dissed you back. I had to. We would have looked like bitch boys if we didn't. Look at what you were pissed over, because he cut your shit off. You should have just came and confronted us about it before acting crazy like that. Isham is a man. We sat there and settled our differences like men. Just him and I on that dark-ass street corner in Detroit City for over an hour. After we handled our hothead shit, we talked about the show and all that. As strange as it may sound, we left that night with a great deal more respect for one another. Isham coming out to my house with a gun in 1993, and later he'd end up signed to Psychopathic and swinging the hatchet by my side. It's just amazing to me. 3 things to remember from this. Number 1, God is way bigger than all of us. Number 2, never say never and mean it. And number 3, life is too fucking long to be stuck on stupid. People talk to Isham and I about leaving that part out of the book altogether. Plus, we have never ran from anything in our personal histories. We're both too fucking proud of ourselves today, of how we turned out to care about what happened on the streets over a decade ago. Up until that historical Magic Bag show, we were just another rap act or something, or what we thought was a rap act. That night, after going against the venue's rules, after the Fago and the stage diving, we weren't just a fucking rap act anymore. We were ICP in the Dark Carnival. We never again fell into any plain old category, but that one, our own category. We weren't being anything but ourselves. Fago, fuck yous and all. ICP was truly born. More importantly, the Juggalos were born, all 350 or so of them. That night, the Magic Bag, Shaggy 2 Dope, Violent J, ICP, the Dark Carnival, and the Juggalos all came to life.
Chapter 11, Ringmaster's Word. And this chapter is dedicated to Young Wicked, the man behind the boards right now, adding all the little extra freshness you hear here and there behind my words. Whoop whoop! We had the Beverly Kills 50187 EP between albums, and we weren't basically poor anymore. We weren't rich at all. We weren't even middle class. But for the very first time in my life, though, we weren't dirt poor. We could afford McDonald's or whatever was right down the street from our office anytime we wanted. Our office was still Alex's mom's basement on 9 Mile Road. Carnival of Carnage had sold almost 10,000 copies by now. 10 fucking thousand copies, all independently. Despite the big news, however, Alex came back from a music seminar with some bad news. We didn't have any record companies sucking our dicks. Damn. As a matter of fact, we didn't have anybody sucking our dicks. Anywhere we went, every record store, every time we hung out at St. Andrew's Hall, nobody had a fucking thing to say to us. Nothing but mean mugs and shoulder shrugs everywhere we went. Whatever we told people we sold, they were always dead certain we were lying about it. Besides, every time I talked to Esham's brother James, he would tell me they were selling 100,000 records. Same thing with Kid Rock. Oh yeah, I'm at about 70,000 units. We believed it all, too. Sure, we'd later learn that they were mega hyping that shit up the whole time. Right then, we all thought that we had a lot of catching up to do. Them lying to us all those years, that turned out to be the best thing ever for us, because all we did was try harder and harder to catch up to their imaginary record sales. Them lying, them boosting their record sales, just made us work harder to try to catch up to their lies. The truth was, all along, it was hard enough for fucking Ice Cube to sell 10,000 records in the Detroit area, let alone a local group. It didn't matter to us, though. We really didn't care. Ice Cube was our target now. Him and the Beastie Boys, all the big time shit. That's what we were trying to catch up to. We entered the studio to make the second Joker's card, the Ringmaster. Mike E. Clark was still pretty much busy as hell back then, treating us like hoes. But we still entered the studio with him because he was the best thing in Detroit, period. About Mike, don't get me wrong, Mike Clark was never a dick to us. Mike was never a dick to anybody for that matter. He was always friendly as hell, full of energy and full of life. You gotta know Mike. He's full of charisma and karma. He's super, super cool and all, but he was just so fucking busy. From the first day I ever met Mike, he was always cool as hell to chill with, though. His only problem back then was he was so fucking busy and in demand. He couldn't work with us exclusively because we weren't making any real money. So Mike had to work with about 10 bands at that time in order to make all his end meets. And when I say bands, I do mean bands, rock and roll bands, and rap groups. The fact is, Mike is the fucking bomb, and everybody who has ever worked with him wants him for themselves alone. But during the recording of Ringmaster, we were just one of the 10 bands Mike was doing at the time. That's why I say we were just bitches to him. That and the fact that we were just another one of the many rap groups and bands who were always bugging him for studio time. He was moving up in the world, though. He had his own studio now. He didn't have to rent out a room at the Temper Mill studio. He had his own fucking studio right at his house. We buried ourselves in the studio as much as possible. Shit was magical during this period, because we knew we actually had people waiting for this album. We were actually defining what ICP was and what it could be. We wanted to make a statement to direct our energy. We wanted to mix comedy and horror and hold it all up like a mirror to a city full of gangsters and scrubs just like us. The image of the Joker's card came to me as a ringmaster throwing up the forks up and the forks down gang signs. To us, that meant that all sets, all gangs could have clown love. That's why the ringmaster holds up both signs. You see, in Detroit, in the Southwest side especially, there were several gangs. The Cash Flow Posse, the Latin Counts, all sorts of them. They were either
Forks Up gang or Forks Down gang. Sort of like out in LA, you got a bunch of different gangs that are either Crip or Blood. They may have individual sets or streets they represent or neighborhoods they represent, but they're either Blood, which means they get along with other Blood gangs, or they're either Crip, which means they get along with other Crip gangs. Well, here in the Midwest, in Chicago and Detroit, it's about Forks Up or Forks Down. Several different gangs were either Forks Up or they were Forks Down. And that's why the ringmaster threw up bull signs, because he was representing all sets. I don't know where the hell we got all those fresh ideas, except to say from the Dark Carnival. We even decided to put our own comic book out with the ringmaster called The Wicked Clowns. I wrote it and Joey drew it. Once again, we were hanging out up at Kinko's like curly hairs on nuts when we weren't in the studio. That fucking comic book was hella hard work. We spent more time up at Kinko's than ever during the Ringmaster era, and that's saying a lot. We had to get the comic book printed in Canada, so it took us a million trips across the border to smuggle them all back. At least we had a comic book now. It wasn't in color or anything, but the cover was, and it was funny. Not even Ice Cube had a fucking comic book. Right from the rip, we wanted to be about more than just music. We wanted to have all kind of little trinkets and little fucking collectibles that come along with us. Not just the CDs, but all kinds of additional collectible flavor. That's why right then during the Ringmaster era, way back in 1993 or 4, we were drawing a comic book, and it took Shaggy forever to draw that bad boy, and it's still available today. It's a collector's item, and it should be, because it's fucking dope and it's fucking funny as hell, straight up. We were off on our own thing now and making new moves. We finally stopped watching our opponents in the race. We just looked ahead, and little did we even know it, but we were leaving everybody in the dust. Promoting, non-stop, night and day and night. We hustled at every Kinko's in the state. We even went to Kinko's in other states just to reuse our snaky tactics because they weren't hit to us yet. We sat up at Kinko's so much that my ass was shaped just like the bottom of a Kinko's chair. We brought our own chairs into the Kinko's that we kept in Alex's truck. We brought food to Kinko's, ordered fucking pizzas to Kinko's, all that. I'm telling you, we lived at Kinko's, making endless amounts of demo packages, flyers, fan club newsletters, bios, everything. It's all about work, you fucking jerk. You don't sit around and wait to be discovered, asshole. You fucking work! Bust your ass if you want it. Chase it. Make it happen. Own it. Don't sit and wait. Don't sit and pray, because God ain't appreciating your lazy ass. Put some effort into it, you bitch. All you fucking local bitch bands that never made it. Ha ha ha. You lazy fuck. Fuck it though. I know all this sounds boring as hell, and if you want, you can skip over to the other chapters about, let's see, how I hung out with Slash, or about how Billy just about blew the guy from Radiohead's grill out, and all that other dirt from being in the WWF and WCW. Skip right ahead, cause this shit is about the struggle, motherfucker. Juggalos, or whoever's hearing this, you've gotta understand. This is what really went on. Promoting! This is the true story behind ICP CDs and concerts. It ain't fresh as them rappers make it seem in the videos. At least for us it never was. We had to walk the whole way alone because nobody else would give us a free lift. You ain't gonna read no rock star's book where motherfuckers are talking about Kinkles and flyers and shit as much as us, because they never had to deal with that shit. Some did, a little here and a little there, but nobody out there walked the whole fucking way like we did. No motherfucking buddy. My only point is that you can truly do whatever you want in this world. Even if you never once receive a break along the way, you can still do it. It just takes a lot of fucking work. But you can be an astronaut or you can be an asshole. You can be whatever the fuck you want on this planet. It's true. You just have to fucking work. The good thing is that once you get to where you're trying to go, you can look back and say, I don't owe shit to any motherfucking buddy. So it might seem stale that I got all these stories about making flyers, promoting, and selling records in Detroit instead of real rock and roll shit like supermodels eating out each other's neddins while we're sipping Caribbean wine and high-fiving with Tommy Lee. Believe me, this shit was hard work. Now, back to our stale story. About 7 weeks before we put the Ringmaster out, we drove all the way down to Cincinnati to get the tapes and CDs pressed up. We had to look for a pressing plant that worked for the cheapest, the most product for the lowest amount of money. We fucking shopped. We budget shopped. We checked out every CD and tape pressing plant in the United States, and the cheapest, best bargain was in Cincinnati, Ohio. So we jumped in Alex's fucking rusty ass bucket and we bounced. We chose this place called QCA to do the job. I wonder if they're still in business. We wanted to go there personally to show them exactly how we wanted it done, just like we had done a few years earlier with Dog Beats. Sure enough though, 4 days before the release of the Ringmaster, we got the CDs and tapes back and they were all fucked up. Typos all over the place, wrong foil and everything. Even though we had to drive all the way there to show them exactly how we wanted it done, they still fucked it all up. At first, they just dissed us about it. They told us, sorry, but there was nothing they could do for us. We were so pissed that somebody was truly about to get hurt. The street came pouring back out of us. It was going down, y'all, for real. We were plotting and planning an actual attack on their pressing plant. Straight up, we were about to bring the streets to the QCA pressing plant in Cincinnati. Right when we got the call, they had made us another 10,000 cassettes and 10,000 CDs for absolutely free. This was like a fucking dream come true. We now had twice the shit to sell. 40,000 units, and we were gonna sell them all. That was a break, and I'll never forget it. Thanks to Alex and his threatening tactics, they actually remade 20,000 more CDs and cassettes, 40,000 in all, 20,000 fucked up ones and 20,000 good ones, and we were about to sell all of them bitches. Now I will admit, that was a break, but that's only because we threatened them and we were serious about it. We were about to surround them and blow their fucking windows out, and you know I ain't playing. Ringmaster hits the streets and his mighty era began. My brother had now been out of the army for a while doing his thing. He started working with us full time, helping us promote the fuck out of the Ringmaster. Even the fucking army and Desert Storm War couldn't prepare Rob for the amount of work we put in while promoting. He got out of one war just to join another. Yes, he was in Desert Shield and Desert Storm. My brother Rob was all over Kuwait and Iraq and all that shit during that war out in the fucking desert with Scud missiles flying everywhere. It was fucking crazy. He should write his own book just about that. But he is now back out of that war and in this war. Alex's mom's basement was now the Psychopathic Records warehouse and shipping department, as well as the office. When we weren't flying, we were down there taping up boxes of CDs, shirts, and shipping them out. Check this out. We bought this huge mega roll of duct tape from this used office supply store. It wasn't really duct tape, it was actually more like this thin-ass, light brown packaging tape shit. The roll was just enormous. I mean, it was seriously about 3 feet thick, no lie. I think maybe it was used on some kind of giant box folding machine or something. But now we had it, and it was fucking humongous. 30 or 40 pounds of nothing but tape. We all stood around looking at it, and we said, by the time this roll of tape is gone, we will have easily shipped out enough shit and sold enough records to get a record deal. We were positive of that. There was no way we could have been wrong about that. So we thought. The Ringmaster was powerful. Our record was selling. Detroit scrubs and thugs were all taking major notice of Insane Clown Posse. Juggalos were emerging from the darkest corners of the state. Other bands were just making music to jam to. We were becoming an underground phenomenon. We set up a bunch of in-store appearances, alone this time, just ICP, with no fucking Kid Rocks. At the in-stores, lines of kids were wrapped around the stores, twice sometimes. Every kid who came through the line was just like us. They looked like us, they dressed like us, they talked like us, and all that. No, I'm not saying that we influenced them in their style. I'm saying that they already had the same style as us. We were all the same kind of people. Scrubs, floobs. We were all being drawn together as underdogs. They were all pissed and ready to do something about it, just like us. It felt like we already knew everybody. We seemed like they all wrestled in NAW with us back in the day. They were all thugs with ICP for years. It was crazy. It was like we already knew everybody somehow. That's how it felt. All these ninjas coming out to get autographs, they were just like us. Joey and I were finding out that there have always been other people out there who thought, lived, breathed, and chilled the same as we did all along. Our music was just helping us all find each other. It was crazy. We couldn't push it out fast enough. Juggalos were telling future juggalos about the dark carnival. Detroit was steady shaking. There were many earthquakes everywhere. Something was growing under the dirt. Something powerful, large, and mega was emerging. We kept spreading our juggalo poison. Box after box was leaving that fucking basement. Our fucking fat roll of tape remained fat, but it was definitely being tested. We were blowing up so big, we had to buy an office out in Oak Park so Alex's mom's neighbors didn't think we were drug dealers coming and going out of the house at all hours. It was almost like a dream come true having our own office. I absolutely loved that little fucking 2-room office. I would spend the night there at least 2 nights a week and just chill, and I hated going home. I used to bring chicks with me there and fuck them on this big-ass conference table all the time. It was so fresh. We used to get chicks from the ICP hotline. That's right. We'd leave a new message every day, and chicks would leave their messages, and we'd call them back and be like,
Well, what up then?
and hook up with them. It was the shit. We even bought our first company car, a little Suzuki Sidekick with fat rims and ground effects. You probably don't even remember ground effects, do you? They were the shit. No more getting out of Alex's rusted out caddy in front of everybody at the in-stores. We used that office and fresh-ass car 24/7. Damn, I remember that Suzuki Sidekick. It even had the fresh purple neon lights underneath it that were illegal. That's why we always got pulled over in that bitch. But man, we loved bouncing that fucking fresh purple Suzuki Sidekick with the ground effects and the neon purple lights that you no longer see because they were too distracting. But we were fresh in that bitch. At the Ringmaster surface, it was just clear. We owned Detroit's underground. That roll of packaging tape was getting smaller, a little bit smaller. Everything seemed cool except for one thing. Alex, we've now sold 30,000 copies of the Ringmaster. Where's that fucking record deal? I asked him. And he said,
Why don't you go to that big-ass Jack the Rapper convention coming up in a couple months and find out?
The 1993 Jack the Rapper convention was this big rap industry thing held in Atlanta for all the players and would-be players of the rap game willing to shell out a $300 ticket. Rudy and I drove down there thinking we were the shit. By the time the convention came, the Ringmaster had sold 40,000 units all on our own. Record companies were going to be hanging off our dicks, or so we thought. Little did we realize that absolutely nobody outside of the Detroit area had a clue as to the hell we were. We sold 40,000 units all right, all in Metro Detroit and around Flint. When we walked in the hotel where the convention was held, right away we saw every rapper and their mama was standing there slapping stickers of their group everywhere. They were just like us, promoting. We started doing the same thing, slapping our motherfucking posters up all over the walls and just trying to blend in. This wasn't nothing new to us. We had crazy skills at promoting. I remember I went up to Redman and gave him a CD, and then to EPMD and any motherfucker who would take it. We walked around that bitch with our chins up like, yeah, we sold 40,000 fucking records. Ringmasters had 40,000. People still weren't hearing it. Every rapper there had a story that beat ours. 40,000 units? That ain't shit, dog. Back in Oklahoma City, me and my crew sold 130,000 units. We couldn't fucking believe it. Everybody was fresher than us somehow. I was getting mad. Rudy just got drunk. We found ourselves on the elevator with Tag Team. You remember them? They had that song, Whoop, there it is. Whoop, there it is. That shit was out and blowing up at the time. So we're in the elevator with them, and it was just about the biggest single of that year. What up, y'all? One guy asked. What up, I said. He put out his hand for a dap. Tag Team. Rudy shook his hand. ICP, what up? We started talking that small-time bullshit talk people make in elevators, especially at business conventions, and we told them we're from Detroit. Then one of the guys asked us, so how we doing up in Detroit? Are we on any radio up there? Rudy, drunk off his ass, answered, well, you know, I ain't really heard too much since that whole little whoop thing y'all did. Wow, I couldn't believe Rudy just said that to them. That whole little whoop thing was the biggest selling rap single of all time, and Rudy just called it a little whoop thing. Well, we hit our floor and got off the elevator right quick. I was just like, holy fuck. Rudy didn't stop to think about what had just happened. He stumbled over to the beer line. Suddenly, Kid, that one guy with the high top fade from Kid and Play, kind of cut in front of him. Rudy liked beer, but he loved trouble. Hey, what's up with that, man? He yelled. Kid apologized immediately. Oh, I'm sorry, bro. I didn't know this was the line. Rudy was drunk. I don't give a fuck if you're a motherfucking Kid and Play, motherfucker. Rudy was about to beat the ninja up from Kid and Play. I couldn't believe this was happening. It was funny as hell though. We paid $600 to come here and get a record deal, and all we were doing was burning bridges we never had to begin with. Fuck it. We pissed off Tag Team and Kid and Play. Might as well go for the hat trick. Snoop Dogg and his Death Row Records posse were premiering their new movie, Murder Was the Case That They Gave Me. It was kind of a big fucking deal because back then, not every rapper was making many movies like they do now. Rudy stumbled up to the door of the screening room, and this big bold letters was a sign,
Do not open door. Film in progress.
Come on, dog, Rudy said. Let's go see this shit. Let's just wait till the next showing, I told him. Rudy opened both doors, and the darkened room suddenly filled up with light. Suddenly, Snoop and about 50 other people were turning around in their seats to see who the assholes were that just opened the door in the middle of the film. The assholes were Rudy and me. Now, rather than take a seat in the back, Rudy was loud as ever. Oh, my bad. Nah, go ahead, watch the movie. The screen's over there. Why you watching me for? Shit, don't mind us. We finally found some seats. 5 minutes later, Rudy leaned over and whispered to me, man, it ain't no bitches in here, man. Let's get the fuck out of here, dog. He at least bothered to whisper. Dog, don't go back outside, I begged him. If you open them doors, all that light's gonna fill the fucking room again. Dog, this shit is whack, man. Let's break, bro. By now, people were turning around mean-mugging us for talking anyway, so I figured we better leave before we get our asses beat. We ninja'd to the back, and Rudy threw open the doors again like he was escaping a burning building. Just as the doors closed back up, I thought we were cool, but Rudy suddenly yelled, Southwest, bitch! We ran. So fresh. At this point, I had just about enough of this convention, but I figured I'd give it at least one last try. There was a room that had A&R men from all labels who would sit down and talk to you. It was almost closed for the day, and we wanted to get the fuck out of there, so I bribed a kid for his place in line. Think about that. I actually paid this motherfucker $40 to have his place in line to talk to the A&R from the record company. He must have not wanted it as bad as we did, because he stepped right the fuck out of line and gave me his spot. I sat down in front of the A&R guy. Here it is, man, I said, handing him a copy of The Ringmaster. I had 5 minutes to give him my speech. Man, this record sold 40,000 copies in Detroit. Here are photos of the group. Me and my boy wear clown makeup, blah, blah, blah. The guy was just looking at me like, shut the fuck up and get the fuck out of here. He didn't ask me one question. Talking to him was like talking to a telephone pole.
All right, we'll listen to it. Peace.
Peace my ass. He could have given a shit less. Luckily, on our way back, there was an independent wrestling show in Atlanta, which was pretty fucking fresh. So Jack the Rapper trip was a total waste. Southwest, bitch! We may not have been shit at the Jack the Rapper convention, but back in the D, we were stars again. We booked a show at the Ritz, the same stale-ass place we played for 250 disinterested Esham fans a year and a half earlier. This time, the building was sold the fuck out at 1,800 juggalos. We had face paint on too, believe that. Not only us, but half the fucking crowd did too. We had a song on Carnival Carnage called The Juggler. Then I would do it on stage. I'd say, you can't fuck with the juggler. What about you, juggalo? Are there any juggalos in here? The fans took it from there. The word juggalo was official. Juggalos were like our very own underground cult of followers. We were the band you never heard on the radio or saw on MTV, but everybody in the area knew the name, and only the juggalos actually listened to us. We were getting so big, we were getting even more player hated in our beloved Southwest. Rudy and I rolled by Clark Park in our sidekick, and people just threw shit at us. Fuck ICP, y'all ain't shit. It was weird as hell. We had some money in our pocket, we were selling out concerts, our ugly asses even had hot supermodel looking bitches wanting to fuck us. Still, somehow we didn't have a fucking record deal. Yes, we were getting some skins, I'll say right here, but it was all phony skins. It was just groupie skins. You have to understand though, groupie skins are like prostitutes. They're fucking you, but they ain't really fucking you because they want to fuck you. They're fucking you so they can say they fucked you. They're fucking you to get props, just like a hooker fucks you to get money. So groupie sex ain't really fulfilling if you're a real man. If you're a real man, you want a bitch to fuck you because she wants to fuck you. That's good sex, when a bitch is scratching your back, loving you, fuck her. I'm telling you now, as a grown-ass man, that's good sex. If a bitch actually really is attracted to you and wants to suck your dick for her pleasure, that's what the fuck I'm talking about. But back then, we would take sex in any fucking form. A hottie willing to fucking blow you real quick in the back of your sidekick? Absolutely. Bring it on. We didn't understand it wasn't authentic though, but we took it any way we could get it. Life was getting busy as hell. We had places to be and projects to get done. Our rapping careers were truly underway. Finally, I had to look ahead and keep moving this life in a new, quicker pace. I broke up with Lori. Remember, we had supermodel-looking chicks willing to fuck us now. It was time to move on, and move on I did. I ended up regretting it for years. A long time after Lori, all I ever met was fake-ass groupie after fake-ass groupie. That made Lori look like an angel. Nowadays, I feel different about Lori. For some reason now, when I look back into the past, all I seem to remember is her bitching at me all the time. I seem to have forgotten her fresh points. I only remember her bitching about the money I owed her, about staying out promoting too late every night, straight up bitching about everything I did. I'm happy as hell now not to be with that stupid bitch. Even though thinking about sex we had, it was alright, it was pretty cool. She was the first woman to ever make me nut by giving me head. But yo, she always made me wear a fucking rubber. How stale is that? My girlfriend always made me wear a fucking rubber. Actually, she was smart, you know what I'm saying? Now that I really think about it, because I was fucking plenty other neddins with no condom. Yes, it's true. When I was in my 20s, I was buck wild. Yes. She made me wear rubber all the time. What kind of bullshit was that? Anyway, once Lori and I were over, Joey, Billy, and I all decided we should get a place together. At the same time, my brother Rob and Rudy had both also ended long-ass stale bullshit relationships. All of us agreed, let's all get a place together and promote 24/7. Fuck the bitches and everything else all around. We were self-sufficient, we were a record company with local hit albums, and all we cared about was making all that grow. Bigger and better. We couldn't afford anything fresh yet, but we all knew we wanted to live somehow near downtown Detroit, where the fresh shit was always going down, the mecca of all the action, the greatest place to be promoting. We ended up moving into the scrubbiest neighborhood in Detroit, a place known to local crackheads and hookers everywhere, Cass Corridor. Now, just for the record, I must say, these days, the Cass Corridor area is much nicer. They built big buildings for college students, and they have all kind of stores everywhere, and it's much, much nicer. But back in these days, it was a fucking crack haven, and it was fucked up. It was all drug dealers, freaks, and hookers mixed in with crazy hippie-looking college kids who have the balls and the drug habits who want to live there too. We fucking loved it in Cass Corridor, except for my fucking sidekick always getting broken into. They stole the fucking airbag out of it once. They stole the fucking radio out of it. Rob and Rudy got an apartment with me, Billy, and Joey on the apartment directly across the hall from them. We were on the 3rd floor of a 3-floor apartment building sized crack house. Our rent was $245 a month. Our bathtub always had roaches crawling around, and there was never a shower head, which meant to use it, you would have to sit down. That meant there was a chance of a bug swimming up your butthole. So instead, we just used the nasty tub to hold all the fan mail we were now getting. We'd just run across to my brother's to take a shower. I remember sitting on the toilet and reading fan mail every day, because the bathtub was full of fucking fan mail from fresh-ass juggalos. It was dope. It was wild because there were people who used to fuck next door, and it would knock my whole fucking cable box off my TV. There was some serious rough fucking going on over there. You just hear this guy, this big fat guy, fucking the shit out of bitches. It sounded like they were in the same room with us. I didn't care, I thought it was funny, but the wall would just be knocking. Their bed must have been right up against that thin-ass plaster, because they were doing some serious fucking. He must have had a big fat fucking fire hydrant dick, because bitches were screaming. Wow, I remember that shit so vividly. An old transvestite sat in front of the building night and day. We nicknamed her Man Lady. She named us too. Me, Rudy, and Billy were always addressed as Big Man, and my brother and Joey were called Slim Goody. Every time we'd come home after a night of flying, she'd be sitting out there. Later in the night, the drunker she would be, he or whatever the fuck. I'll take my teeth out and suck the shit out of your dick, he or she would say jokingly. No thanks, we had groupies for that now. My one homie, I'm not gonna say his name, but he used to be like, man, I'm seriously thinking about having her suck my dick. And we'd be like, bro, it's not a fucking her, it's a he. You're gonna let a man suck your dick. Well, she's got titties somehow. Dog, are you seriously gonna let that thing suck your dick? Wow, I'll keep his name silent. Our landlord was an old-ass white gay man named Tom with an H. Yes, it's Tom with the fresh H. He used to wear a leather-studded hat like a fucking dominatrix and a short leather jacket with nothing on under it. He was fucking creepy as fuck and out of his mind. Going to the store like he was in the Village People, butt cheeks all exposed and shit. Even Man Lady wanted none of that flavor. Tom, how do you say Tom with an H? Tom, not even the homo spectacle Man Lady or Tom could compare to the Thug. Yes, I'm talking about the one and only original Thug. This ninja made thuggin' cool way before Tupac or Bone Thugs ever made the word thug popular. This dude was so black that all you could see were his fucking yellow eyeballs from across the street. Even in the dark, his eyes would light up the sidewalk in front of him like little headlights. We used to watch him from out our window and see him just beating people's asses every day. If we were gonna go to the store across the street, first we checked to make sure the Thug wasn't out. We always waited for him to wander off or get arrested before we left the house. We never wanted to cross the thug, but it was fun watching him from the window because he'd just walk up to a crackhead and you could see they were having some sort of discussion, and suddenly the thug would just knock him the fuck out. It was so funny. Every time you saw the thug, you knew he was gonna punch somebody within 10 minutes. So all you had to do was watch, and sure enough, he'd punch a crackhead off his bike, or he'd fucking punch a fucking lady. He'd punch anything, man. The thug was so fresh. He was like a character that walked out of a video game, a true-to-life bad guy who just walked around punching motherfuckers, and he never wore a shirt. I don't give a fuck how cold it was. The thug was shirtless, he had a beer belly, he was kind of thick, kind of muscular, and he loved to blow faces out. Every time Joey would spot him from his bedroom window, he would scream for all of us to come watch. It never failed. He would always knock somebody the fuck out every time. Crackheads would see them two yellow balls emerging from a dark alley, and they'd take off. Running in fear. Hookers would jump in dumpsters and hide. Whoever was stupid enough to still be standing around when the thug walked up on the scene would always sure as hell get knocked the fuck out. We didn't need an alarm clock because every morning at 10 a.m. this little retarded lady would come knocking on our door with something different to sell. You want to buy this toaster? No, we don't need the toaster. Does your friend want to buy this toaster? No. Boom. 10 the next morning, same thing. You want to buy this lamp? No, I'm straight. Does your friend want to buy this lamp? No, he's straight. One time I was downtown passing out flyers at City Club. There was this homeless guy out there working the beat. Hey man, buy these incense sticks off me, man. Please, these incense sticks are all I got to sell, he pleaded. I'm homeless, just come on, help me out. So I bought a couple fucking incense sticks off him and even gave him a couple extra bucks. That night, as I unlocked the door to my apartment, I looked down the hall and there he was. The same fucking guy I bought the incense from was unlocking the door to his apartment. I said, hey man, I thought you were homeless. He just looked at me and said, ha, and then slammed the door. What the fuck? He was just as broke as me. And I'm hooking him up with money, that fucking cocksucker. Check this out. One night, I came home and walked right up the stairwell. As I passed the second floor, I noticed this guy halfway down the hallway with a fucking rifle in his hand. And he was banging on the door yelling, open up, bitch! I just kept walking up to that third floor like I ain't seen shit. When I got into our apartment, I yelled at Joey, hey man, some guy's on the second floor with a gun. Cat, cat. Now you could hear bullets busting rounds off. We went back to the window. The guy was in the alleyway right across the street where I normally park my truck, putting rounds into his rifle and shooting him into the apartment right below ours, busting out the windows and shit. It was never our style, but we did it. We actually called the police. He was shooting into our fucking building.
There's a guy shooting into the building. Listen,
I said, and I hung the phone out the window. The guy ran out of ammo, then he would just go back to his truck and reload, and he kept shooting into the building, just taking his time like he had all night. We low-crawled across to my brother's apartment. Rob, the cops still ain't here? I was freaking out. Finally, the guy ran out of bullets and drove away. 10 minutes later, one lone fucking cop car finally rolled up. We went out to talk to the cop. Lo and behold, it was a fucking Wayne State College area patroller. Not even a real fucking cop. Mind you, nobody else from the building called the police or went outside. I guess that kind of shit just happens all the time around there. I mean, we would hear automatic gunfire and the echoes of gunfights during the night in our new neighborhood, but never for that long and that consistent. I wasn't complaining though. I fucking loved it down there. It was like the ultimate scrubbiness once again. People wondered how the fuck we could write songs about driving around in hearses killing people. They wonder how we could come up with all this fucking horror comedy stuff. Shit, living in downtown Detroit with fucking characters like that, how could we not? We were representing Detroit, and that's all that mattered to us. Even bringing groupies to the apartment was fun. They would be like, you live here? It was dope. They would all see the steam shooting up from the sewers and how ghetto our whole neighborhood looked. We seemed to be living the exact role we were rapping about. It was awesome. When Ringmaster came out, we were paid enough to pay the bills on time. We were single. Everything was cool. Oh, Joey did get arrested for a minute for breaking into a restaurant in Ferndale because he was drunk and hungry one night after a party at his mom's house. I guess he figured some frozen hot dogs would be tasty. Well, once he got inside the place, he found a little surprise. The owner was in the fucking restaurant fucking some chick with the lights off. Joey fought the fuck out of the guy, but he got choked out. The guy was bigger than the Undertaker. I never believed Joey about how big this guy was till I went to court with him, and the guy was there, and he looked like one of the fucking Road Warriors. I don't know if you know who one of the Road Warriors are, but they're big fucking muscular old school wrestling tag team, never mind. Joey got probation, which was way better than serving time, but the only bone was he couldn't leave the state for a year. Of course, back then, with the way we had Detroit locked down, he didn't need to leave the state, ever. Alex would give us $50 every morning. We'd drive around in the Sidekick, picking up money from record stores and dropping more shit off. And of course, flyering. And going into the fucking studio. It was amazing. We were living off the music sales, and there weren't many motherfuckers in Detroit who could say that. Maybe Esham, that's it. Kid Rock didn't have to work, but then again, he never had to. His parents were rich, and everybody knew it. His dad owned a fucking car lot and all kinds of shit. From what he told us, his dad was Bob Ritchie Sr., the guy who owned all them new and used car lots you'd always see commercials for on TV. Of course, that's only my speculation, but now it's officialation. Maybe he never asked his stale-ass dad for shit, I don't know. I'm not hating on Kid Rock, but he did have rich parents, and everybody knew it. Things were getting very, very weird for me and Joey. We were getting famous. People would recognize us at malls. Chicks were always down the fuck right away. But I told you about that sex. It's only half as fresh. For me, this was extra crazy. I've always been ugly. Even before I was fat, I was this ugly kid with a big forehead. Hot chicks let me fuck them to this very fucking day. It was funny as hell to me. Back then, it was all brand new to me, and we took full advantage. We'd meet girls at our shows or at our in-stores, and they'd call our hotline. It was almost like we were daring them to like us. They'd get in their parents' car and drive all the way from the rich-ass suburbs to our ghetto neighborhood. And if they could find a place, we'd meet them in the street and have to blindfold them before taking them up to our apartment. If we didn't, they'd tell everybody else where we lived. The next thing we knew, there would be kids in face paint at our apartment, hound dogging us for autographs all day and night and going through our trash and shit. We'd get these girls to our apartment, and the first thing out of their mouths was always,
"What are you guys doing living down here? This place is gross."
We'd go on and on about how we were just keeping it real. With that $50 every morning, we were as rich as we could be. Anything else we ever had coming went right back into psychopathic. Every fucking penny.